Let's open this meeting in I'm gonna ask Mr. Burris before we do, if he would lead us in prayer.
Okay. Bow our heads. Lord, we want to thank you, O God, for this day. We thank you, O God, for how you bless us in so many wonderful ways. Lord, you've been better to us than we've been to ourselves. We pray, God, right now, Lord, as we deliberate the business of this county, Lord, that you will give us divine wisdom and knowledge, O God, to make the right decision, O God. Don't let it be personal, God, but let it be with the best interest of the citizens of Ware County in mind. We thank you, O God, for your son Jesus dying for our sins, and we pray, God, you just continue to bless us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm gonna do a roll call. Mr. Burris?
Brother.
Mr. Tyndall?
Here.
Mr. Lucas? Here. Mr. Cox? Now, guest speakers for items not on the agenda. Daniel Page, would you come up to the podium, please? State your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Pagan. I'm a public affairs specialist of the Small Business Administration. We're here to let the folks know that there is still time to apply for loans for the recovery efforts from the hurricane from this past couple of months. There's still time. The deadline for FEMA just passed. It was the 7th of February. SBA has a grace period of 60 additional days, which will end on April 8th. So there's still time for homeowners, renters, and business owners to put in their applications.
Okay.
Now, just as a reminder, for homeowners, they can apply up to $500,000 for recovery of their structures or buildings, and also $100,000 for their personal property. This includes TVs, their vehicles, and things of that nature. For businesses, they can apply up to $2 million for damages to their actual structure, and another $2 million for economic injuries. Okay? That would be it. Also, if they have any questions, they can reach us at 1-800-659-2955, and they can also submit their application online at MySBA at lending.sba.gov. Okay, just want to make sure that folks are still aware that they have that option so they can get back on their feet after this hurricane. If there are any questions, that will be it for me at this time.
I've got something. So I've talked to several people about this, the SBA loans, whether it be for their personal or for businesses, and many of them have already been denied. Is there anything specific that needs to be done to their applications in order to keep them from being denied? I mean, we got businesses that had to shut down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks even, because of no power, things like that, and economic hardship on that stuff, but they were still denied.
Yes, they will need their package and their loan application number. They can call those numbers and they can receive assistance specifically to what happened to their specific application.
Okay.
Because no two cases are the same.
Right.
But they can reach that number and we'll gladly assist them and see what happened and how they can overcome that hurdle so they can get the assistance that they should so need.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you coming and sharing that information, and I hope maybe you can give the numbers maybe to clerk or someone over here so we can disseminate out to the press. We have it here. But one of the things I want to find out, you mentioned about SBA, so when people think about Small Business Administration, they think about, okay, I got to have a business, but this is not the case, right?
No, for disasters, small businesses and some nonprofits can apply, but also homeowners. If you suffer damages during the storm, you can apply for assistance.
Okay, so what if you didn't suffer any damages to your home, but people just want some assistance for incidental, maybe where they lost their freezer and, we were out of power here, some of us 6 or 8 days. And I know that when they first started, they were helping people out, I guess just aid. But then a lot of people say they run into roadblocks, they start wanting all the additional information, and, which I'm pretty sure you know it's all kind of things that were going on during that time. So how can they still apply for that?
Sure, if the damages they suffer were from a result, or the result from the hurricane, yes, they can apply.
So when you say the damages, I'm talking about, and I guess most people think damage, you think about structural damage, but I'm talking about, what if you just lost all your food? Maybe you had,
Yes.
had to go get a generator because you had something that were electrical sensitive, you know, that you had to have, maybe like, say, a CPAP machine or something like that.
Yes, all those can be covered, they should apply, and if they, whatever happens, they can also keep following up with those numbers I will provide to know what's going on with their loan, but they should apply.
Okay,
Anything that happened within, because you can apply up to 100,000 for damages for your personal property. That includes TVs, microwaves, refrigerators, vehicles, clothing, all that stuff that happens in what's inside the house or the residence can be applied for, and you can get a loan assistance for those damages and those losses you suffered.
and it's been extended to April, you said?
Yes, April 7th, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, thank you.
Let me get the number, you said 800-659-2955.
2955, yes, ma'am. I can leave you the, some flyers with the information per
That'd be
this, so
great.
you can have it, and the disaster fact sheet, the highlights of what's more important, so we can have all that information.
That would be great.
Ready to do that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful afternoon.
All right.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, next one is Travis Sanctuary. Will you come up, please? State your name and where you live.
I'm Travis Sanctuary. Just wanted to speak this afternoon on the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge. It's U.S. Department of the Interior has nominated the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge to become a UNESCO World Heritage Site. That's the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. There's a lot of problems with this. The United Nations and UNESCO are, to start with, they're fundamentally incompatible with our Constitution, with our Republican form of government, and our understanding that we have a creator and that we are endowed with certain unalienable rights. And because of these things, we must oppose in this county any affiliation with UNESCO and any influence that they may have in and around the Okefenokee Refuge. For one, UNESCO and the UN, they have an evolutionary, humanistic worldview that never acknowledges God or a creator, and therefore never acknowledges any God-given rights. They view rights as being given or afforded by the UN Charter or the Declaration of the International Declaration of Human Rights, which states these rights and freedoms may in no case be exercised contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations. So there's a fundamental difference with UNESCO and the UN as compared to our form of government, where our rights are granted by God. So that's an issue. UNESCO's purpose and philosophy will drive its influence, not only within the boundary of the Okefenokee Refuge, if it is inscribed as a World Heritage Site, their influence will not only be within the boundary and management of the refuge, but also in the surrounding area in the way of educational programs and input in land use policy. UNESCO's purpose and philosophy includes a single world government and the achievement of Agenda 2030. And we need to, as a county, be vigilant to assure that no part of this philosophy or this 2030 agenda that is in conflict with our values and our laws and our Constitution. Make sure that none of those things are implemented in our community. UNESCO, on their website, they state that their programs contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals defined in the 2030 agenda. So there's no hiding that that's what they're doing. That's their stated purpose, is to carry out Agenda 2030. They are a part of the United Nations, so they will do, their purpose is to carry out the agenda of the United Nations. And their influence being in the outside of the Okefenokee Refuge, they call for, it's been said that there's not going to be any buffer zone, but it needs to be understood that a buffer zone can be added as later on, after inscription of the property. A buffer zone can be added later on as a minor boundary modification. And that's something we need to keep an eye on if this inscription goes through. Because there's, within the UNESCO document preparing World Heritage nominations, which is a current document, that it's stated in that document that it should be clear how those responsible for managing the property are also able to provide input to and influence the management of activities in any buffer zone. So that could very well carry outside the boundaries of the
Okay.
refuge.
All right. Has anybody got any questions on that?
I do, Mr. Chairman. Who's going to determine if this goes through, the state, the federal government, or the local government, or?
So it's been nominated by, it's already been sent to the Department of the Interior, the U.S. Department of the Interior, and they have already approved the application, and they have sent it as of, I don't know the exact date, but January of this year. It was sent to UNESCO, and there's, Hank may be able to speak to the time frame a little better, but there's, it will be considered by the World Heritage Committee. At the latest, it would be inscribed in summer of 2026, but it can be done prior to that. But the nomination has been sent, so it's in UNESCO's hands right now.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing the information, but to be real candid with you, I don't understand a lot of stuff that's going on when they start talking about the World Heritage Center and the Okefenokee Swamp. And you got pros and cons on it, you know, you got different people now, some, just like you, coming based, I guess, in opposition to it. Then you have some people that will come up and be adamantly supportive of it, you know. And then just UNESCO, is this some kind of like a group or something, or what is this, UNESCO?
It's the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. They're a part of UNESCO, or of the United Nations. It's a international governing body, and they're basically the education wing of the United Nations.
Okay.
They're composed, the committee is composed of 21 members from UNESCO member states. A lot of these are adversarial nations, China and others.
So let me ask this, now, don't we have other sites right now that's considered World Heritage sites, I guess?
Yes, sir.
I put, for example, is the Grand Canyon or something like that, is that considered a?
Yes, sir.
So I guess I'm trying to find out what's the downside of being declared a World Heritage Center. That's what I'm trying to find out, because I know it's been different hearing about this and.
Well, specifically, there's their influence within the swamp, within the refuge, but also with their educational programs and input in the land use policy, in the wider setting, in the areas that influence the refuge. They do call for the manager to have influence and input in the land use decisions that are, and policies that are being made outside of the boundary of the swamp.
Okay, well, like I say, it's a lot I don't understand about it, and I know, just like you got the, the mining that's wanting to be done in proximity to the swamp, you got some people that support it and some people don't support it, you know. So it's on each side, you know. But I appreciate you sharing, you know, your views on it, with the commission, and, appreciate you coming.
So I've got a question. So out of the UNESCO sites that are in the World Heritage listings already, are there any specific examples that you can give us to where the detrimental things that could happen are already happening at these other sites?
Well, a lot of them are, there's different types of sites. This would be a natural World Heritage site. There's cultural World Heritage sites. So some of the issues are going to be different, but there are, and again, Hamp can probably speak better on that. He's probably got more information on that specifically, but the biggest thing is the potential for influence and the educational programs. Their whole philosophy is contrary to our beliefs and our form of government in the United States, and there's really no place for them here. I mean, it's that funding is not constitutional, and it has been stopped several times, funding of this organization, for several reasons. One of them is that anti-Israel bias, and that continues today. They haven't changed in all the years that's been brought up. That hasn't changed. But to your question, there's is mostly the influence that could, and if you do some research on UNESCO and their programs and what they promote, that their programs are already in our schools and in our communities, and we need to keep an eye out for that and make sure that stuff gets out.
So there would be other, say like the Grand Canyon or the Yosemite National Park that are on these, that's in this World Heritage, there would be educational material out there that would back up the things that you're saying that could be a potential here in the Okefenokee?
Yes, sir. And I'll to that question, I'll get some good solid stuff for you.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Just trying to learn, trying to get
Yeah, that's.
an idea about what's, kind of same thing, Mr. Burris here. don't know everything about everything, so I'd like to learn.
Yes, sir.
Travis, is this thing, the way I look at it, and I've been asked this, is the world thing, if they take control of it, then before we do anything in the swamp or anything, or any of these places, it's gotta be approved through the world, I guess. It's like, they got their foot over here in the United States, all of them. Why do we want Nesco in the swamp? I mean, why do we want them to have any part of it? That's what I don't understand.
They,
Right,
Mr.
go ahead.
Chairman, I just want to mention, I believe Commissioner Lucas is trying to speak.
Timmy.
Whichever
Oh.
whichever time you'd like to recognize him, it's up to you.
Okay, Timmy, you got something?
Yes, sir. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. I've done several readings and, try to research most everything that's brought before the commission. And not only is UNESCO the right arm of the United Nations, which, under the current administration, we just pulled out of it and pulled completely out of the United Nations. If this is declared a World Heritage Site by the mere definition of what the United Nations puts out there, there's two things that can take place. One thing for certain going to take place, and that is our educational system at the elementary level and junior high level will implement certain beliefs and ideologies that we do not necessarily believe in the Bible Belt. Okay?
Yeah.
That is, to me, that is a big deal, because then they start implementing what they want our youngsters in our elementary schools in South Georgia to learn, and not necessarily what the Department of Education. Because these people are deep in our society. Number two is, if it's declared a World Heritage Site, one day we might want to go take our family out there, and you're going to have UN soldiers standing out there with weapons. Because it theoretically becomes their property.
Right.
So why would we want to take one of the wonders of the world and hand it over to some organization like UNESCO and us have no more say? We can't stop it once it starts. You know what I'm saying?
That's correct.
And this UNESCO taking control of the local swamp that we take pride in as South Georgians, as Ware Countyans, that we were raised around and we were raised for, it'll strip everything away that we've been taught through all the generations from our great-grandparents all the way down. And what scares me to death is my grandchildren will be starting, my oldest granddaughter will be starting preschool right here in about a year and a half, and those implementations will be in her pre-K class. I've seen an outline of the educational things that they want to start bringing forward, and it does not coincide with us living in the Bible Belt. That's the only way I know to say it and be plain about it.
Okay. All right, thank you, Tim.
Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else? You?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and I appreciate Commissioner Lucas' research on that, and I'm gonna accept it for what he's saying, but, okay, he made a statement about if this was declared a World Heritage Site, that, down the road, UN soldiers could be out there and all this kind of stuff, but I guess what I'm trying to find out, so if you got a lot of places that have been declared World Heritage Sites for years, and I haven't ever heard of anything like where they coming in and they taking over and about the information that they putting to the kids. It's just, this stuff it's really kind of getting out of hand. I mean, every time something comes up now, everybody wanting to say, well, hey, this is what they're going to do. They're going to indoctrinate our children. But, that indoctrination can be taken a lot of ways. You got some people that say they don't want them to put this out for our children, but then you got another force out there that's saying they want to remove certain things that have happened in history and don't want the kids to know that, but it's still history. So that's what I'm saying. When we start going down that rabbit hole, we got to be very careful.
And Commissioner Burks, I appreciate that 1,000%, and I totally respect what you're saying, and I believe what you're saying. But it can most definitely happen. What you gotta think about is our swamp is at our back door.
Right.
We got homes within, a quarter mile, all the way down to within 100 yards from the Okefenokee Swamp entrance. Okay? The Yellowstone, all these other big places that we've named, that's not at anybody's back door, and it's definitely not in an area where they have elementary schools that they can infiltrate with this kind of information. I'll get you a copy of their actual protocol of what they're wanting to implement in our school system.
I appreciate it.
Matter of fact, I believe the superintendent's got a copy of it already. Because the superintendent of Okefenokee Swamp and her ranger are the ones that has come and spoke to us 2 different times, and they have that information on them. And then I'm telling you, when I read through it, I'm like, I don't want my kids knowing this. I don't want my granddaughter to learn this mess. I mean, it for a lack of better, I don't want to even say the lack of better, I'm just going to say my belief as a Christian, this is definitely not something we need in our back door. That's the only way I know to say it.
Okay.
So I got one more. So considering the new, I guess, cabinet members and stuff that's in this new administration and the new Interior Secretary, I mean, what are the chances of it getting past his desk at this point?
It's already, it was already submitted by the previous administration, so it's already in the hands of UNESCO. It can, I believe, the new Secretary of the Interior, I believe he ought to be able to
Withdraw it.
stop it, withdraw it.
Yeah.
And President Trump has called for a review of UNESCO and our involvement with UNESCO. So there is a possibility that it could be withdrawn through our Department of the Interior, though it is already in the hands of UNESCO.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if that happens, then the sites that's declared World Heritage Sites now, they would be like, dissolved, they wouldn't be considered World Heritage Sites anymore?
Say that again, sir?
Say for instance, like the Grand Canyon, that's a World Heritage Site, right? So what, can they go and say, well, okay, we're gonna make null and void all the World Heritage Sites because we don't want the UN having anything to do with them?
That hasn't been done in the past. We've withdrawn funding from UNESCO a few times. Reagan, I believe Obama even halted funding for UNESCO, and President Trump withdrew us from UNESCO. But they stopped funding, but I believe that the World Heritage programs may have even been, or even were some that were inscribed while we were not funding them, or at least within that time frame. But so if we depending on to what degree we withdraw from UNESCO, if we do, then it may or may not have an effect on current World Heritage Sites. It has not so far in past times. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I got one more.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let him
Go ahead, Timmy.
One other thing I'll notate here is, like I say, y'all know how much research I do and all this. Pulling us out of the United Nations is something that several presidents have done across both aisles, Democratic and Republican alike. And just like the gentleman just alluded to, them pulling us out of the United Nations is the beginning of, President Trump passed it, President Obama had legislation that kept us out and kept us from paying dues to the United Nations. This goes all the way back to President Carter. And it's been Democrats and Republicans alike because they do not want the UN to have a stronghold here in the United States. It goes hand in hand with China buying up a lot of our farmland here. It's the same thing with UNESCO, except UNESCO isn't paying for it, we're giving it to them. And they're saying that the amount of visitors will more than triple. There's 500,000 to 600,000 500,000 people that visit the swamp every year in Ware County, every year. And there's no way that number, just turning it over to UNESCO, will triple that number. It's just not gonna happen. It's not feasible. But the fact about United Nations soldiers and UNESCO being the right arm of the United Nations, yes, sir, we could wake up one morning and there'd be United Nations troops out there. Most definitely could.
That's scary.
When you turn the power over to them, it could happen.
That's what
And
I
I, for one, just don't want it at our back doors. And I go back to my granddaughter. There's things that they want to implement in the elementary school. There's no reason she should be taught those things other than being taught that by her mom and dad. That's it.
yeah. Okay. Thank you, Timmy. I got
Thank you.
Commissioner Cox, you got something?
I know they had some educational meetings about this stuff. I made one of them. Do you know if they gonna be any more of those? Because it was really helpful to me, because I had no understanding until I went to one, so. I would've loved to went to all of them, but I didn't make them, so.
There's nothing scheduled that I'm aware of.
Mhm.
That's all I can say about that. Again, I myself and Hamp and some other, we'd be glad
Yeah.
to talk to you and give you any information that you might.
Like I say,
any questions you have.
I went to one and it really, made me understand better, so that would be something good if we could have one.
Okay. Any more? All right, thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Council, would this be, I wanna ask you a question, would this thing be, voted on, or how will it be done?
Mr. Chairman, I'll be honest, this is the first I've heard about this issue. I'm not aware of any involvement that the commission has as far as the designation or not the designation. Even based on what these gentlemen said, this was done at a federal level, and sent. And so, if we want, I would advise all of us to, number one, educate ourselves further to make sure we understand what the designation is, what it means, what is the actual authority that, if it is designated, what that would mean for the swamp. And then once we've taken that first step, and then we understand, where we stand on it, then, I'm not sure there's anything to be done at the local level, but, if you'd like to speak to the delegation or the representatives on this issue, which certainly, citizens can do, you as a commission can do, on any issue that you find important, then we certainly can take that step, if deemed warranted. So candidly, I need to educate myself a little further also. This is the first I've heard about this issue.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Counselor, if I may, I know this has already been voted on in Charleston County and Clinch County. Charleston County voted it down, the Board of Commission, and Clinch County voted for it. And the reason Clinch voted for it was because they're thinking about the jobs that are gonna come in with that mining, and they're thinking they're gonna get some people, hired on to make some really good money with that mining company. What they don't realize is that mining company comes in with all the employees they need. But it's already, like I say, it's already been voted on in Clinch and Charleston. Charleston voted it down, Clinch voted it for it. We're the only one, and we own, I say we, the citizens of Ware County, theoretically own 90% of that swamp. Because it's upkeep, and the people get paid out there, the manager gets paid, all them get paid with taxpayer money. Whether it be at the local level, whether it be at the state level or federal level, it's all taxpayer money. So that place is taxpayer owned. So I'm assuming that eventually we're gonna have to take a vote at our level. Because the other two counties have already.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we certainly can ask the county manager, or if directed, I'm glad to, communicate with those counties, get a copy of whatever minutes there are, what resolution there is, to understand, are they voting as just here's our position, that we'd like to communicate at the federal level, or is there some action that they're taking at the local level that will prevent it from happening? Like I said, certainly, let's educate ourselves further, and then you all have the information you need to make the best decision you can.
Mr. Chairman, and Timmy, you may remember, maybe can help me on this. Did we vote a while back on a resolution to declare that we were in support of declaring, Okefenokee Swamp a World Heritage Site? It's-
Yes, sir, we did, we took a vote that we would not support it. That was before, Commissioner Tindall came on and Commissioner Cox came on.
Okay, that we would support it, that we would support it?
We would,
Not,
that we would not support it.
not support it.
Okay, I know we had, I thought my memory said we did something in reference to it, but I couldn't remember whether it was
Trying to look it up.
to support it or not support it.
That wasn't the mining, was it?
No, that was for the World Heritage Site, I believe.
That
Well,
was
was
the mining won't
Let's
take
go.
place if it's not declared. If it's declared, that's when the mining's gonna take place.
No, I'm talking about the World Heritage Site now, not the
Right.
mining.
It goes hand in hand, I think what we're saying.
The main agenda here is two things. They infiltrate our school system, and then they get their hands on that metal that's up underneath the swamp. And you're talking about the United Nations having control over those metal deposits, uranium, titanium, I think there's another one out there somewhere, supposed to be one of the biggest, holders of it, is in that swamp. And there's no kind of retainer wall, there's nothing, I could go into real big detail here with the travesty that would bring Ware County. Not to mention, that's where our honeybees live, the majority of them, and they're the ones that pollinate everything in the springtime. And we're gonna destroy our natural ecosystem here in Ware County if this happens. It will destroy our ecosystem, period.
Okay, thank you, Timmy. I think we're gonna do what the council said, we need to better educate
Right,
ourselves on it.
exactly.
And then come back with it, when it does appear to be voted on, we'll know more about it. And, Travis, we might be listening to you some. Try to find out as much as we can. Okay, we got one more, Mr. Ammons?
My name's Hampton Ammons. I'm, Mr. Sanctuary there listed a lot of the main, issues with UNESCO. I want to hit on a few more points, and some of the questions that y'all asked, I can probably, answer those with a little bit of, documentation. For one, probably one of the most concerning issues is UNESCO is founded on the principle of humanism. Its founder, Julian Huxley, he was a co-signer of the Humanist Manifesto. And you can go on UNESCO's website and look at their documentation, and you can constantly see that they have a humanist mission. Their humanist mission through education, science, and culture. If you don't know what the humanist mission is, that is to establish a society void of God. Now, you can believe in God or not. That's your choice. But to have a society, an international agency promoting that to our children, that is something we should be staunchly opposed to. There is loads of documentation on that. I know someone mentioned what has happened at other World Heritage Sites. That depends on where you go. They're not going to do anything drastic here in the United States, because if they did, they would never have another World Heritage Site. You can look at Cambodia, maybe 2 years ago. They were burning houses and evicting a couple 100,000 people of the indigenous people that lived around some site. I can't remember the name of it, but I just researched that a couple months ago. You can look that up in Cambodia. That has happened. They had soldiers there burning people's houses and evicting them. They're probably not going to do that here. They might in 50 years or 100 years. Now, that's what we got to be looking at is down the road. Well, that stuff's not going to happen right now. Another important part is, they claim that the proponents claim that there's no change in there's no effect of our sovereignty over our lands. Well, that is true in a direct sense, but in an indirect sense, a lot of that stuff is going to come through the state and through you as a county. That has already been seen through a county here recently, as there was an attempt to put in some language in the comprehensive plan for the potential for restricted land use. That is a direct effect of UNESCO that would pass through the county commission. So that is something you have to be vigilant of and catch that stuff coming in and stop it. For education, UNESCO education, I think y'all have 3 pieces of paper with a lot of information on the World Heritage Convention, UNESCO in general and the United Nations and how they're all tied together. For the education part in UNESCO, that has a lot of radical sex education. I found this just a couple of weeks ago. The International Guidelines of Sexuality Education, it outlines appropriate instruction for children such as ages 5 to 8. This is 5 to 8-year-olds. Bodies can feel good when touched. Touching and rubbing one's is called, that's some words I'm not willing to speak right here. And some people do it and some people do not. And it is not harmful but should be done in private. That's for ages 5 to 8 in an International Guidelines for Sexuality Education. If y'all want this piece of paper, I can hand it to you. So this agency is evil from its very beginning, and that's what they want to teach our children. Additionally, UNESCO's founding document, UNESCO, its purpose and its philosophy, was written by Julian Huxley. He was the first Director General of UNESCO. It says on page 13, the moral for UNESCO is clear. It must envisage some form of world political unity, whether through a single world government or otherwise. That is what they are constantly doing. They call it world heritage. That's our heritage. That's not world heritage. What does China have to do with, or Taiwan, or Hong Kong, Turkmenistan? What is their heritage with the Okefenokee Swamp? The World Heritage Committee is comprised of 21 nations elected periodically. The United States currently has no representation on that committee. Who knows? We might not have representation on there again for another 20 or 30 years. They make the final decisions on what happens with all World Heritage sites. What they say goes. It doesn't matter how much we want to fight it. That was the final decision. Let's see what else do I have here. Private property rights. In World Heritage Report number 21 in section 10. Now, if you look at this World Heritage Report, it's about property in Mexico. Section 10, that's about the United States. It says that in non-centralized governments such as the United States of America, there should be costly economic incentives to support the property rights movement. So what that particularly says is there would be costly economic incentives for someone to not do what they have the legal right to do because some government entity develops some program that is going to make it uneconomical for them to do what they plan to do, whether it be farming, forestry. Maybe they can't, for some regulations, they can't clear cut. They have to do selective thinning or something. Who knows what's going to happen? That could be 20 years down the road. It doesn't have to be right now. So are we making all these sacrifices to get a few fast food jobs, maybe extra hotel worker, sell a tank of gas and a Coca-Cola and some tickets to the Okefenokee? I mean, is that what we're willing to sacrifice? So I just hope that y'all will stay diligent in seeing what these non-government organizations would come and try to influence y'all in developing some type of programs or regulations involving land use or any other matters. It is coming. It's just a matter of when. It may not be this next year. It may be 10 years down the road, but that's something that if this goes through, we'd have to constantly stay vigilant and seeing where they're trying to encroach on our rights. I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anybody got anything for him?
No.
To sum all this thing up, in my opinion, is we need to turn this thing over to God and pray that He takes the right hand in this and do away with it if it comes to that. Ask for His will to be done and not ours. All right, let's move on. Okay, agenda item, catering alcohol license applications for cocktail Caravan LLC. We got one who, James, you know about that license?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This was the item that was brought over from the previous agenda for a catering alcohol license. I think we had some questions, and then the commission wanted some more research. We've done some research, and what they found was that most counties are doing it like we are doing it. It's in the ordinance where we regulate just like a business. Any other business that sells on premises, we regulate them, they have to have a license. And then also, when they do a catering, the host of that special event permit will have to get a special event license for that day, or permit for that event. So, I think there was some confusion last time that was called a mobile bar, and the confusion was that I think that they would be selling out of a trailer. Well, that's not the case. It would be inside of a building. They might carry their stuff in a trailer to the location, because actual county ordinance, going back and looking, county ordinance prohibits the sale and the consumption of alcohol outside the business, out in public areas, unless it's on a patio that's been built for that, kind of out of the view of the general public. And it goes into, county ordinance goes into even how you access that patio. It has to be accessed through the restaurant or through the establishment that has the alcohol license. That was kind of the research that we did, and what we found, I looked for a county in Georgia that had one, and I didn't find any on the internet that had a actual license. So we just went through what the ordinances say. And our ordinance is very similar to other counties. The state of Georgia does most of your regulation on these types of licenses. And I don't have that paperwork with me today. It's in the folder, I think, in the Planning and Codes Department. But there's about 3 pages that they actually regulate what they have to do. And one thing is, for example, if I hire a caterer, alcohol caterer, to come and do an event for me, then I buy the alcohol from her, and then all the broken packages, broken seals has to stay with me. They can't go back with her or him or the license holder. They have to stay at that establishment. And that's some of the things that the state requires. So, and I think the other question last time was was the applicants weren't here, and I think they are here today to speak on if you have any questions for them.
Okay. We have anybody here with this? Would they come up?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
while they're coming up, I just got a question. So would they fall under the same regulations as far as, say, Sunday alcohol sales? If there was if they got hired on for an event that was on a Sunday, but it was in the county, because I know they allow Sunday alcohol sales within the city limits, but not outside the city limits, would they fall under those same regulations, or would it be, since the host of the party would purchase the alcohol, they're just serving it? How does that work out?
So it's been interpreted that that you can have on sale consumption on Sundays, in the way the referendum was worded. So now your nightclubs and all that can be open on certain hours on Sundays, so they would be able to operate just like, because it's consumption on premises. That would be my interpretation, but we'd have to clarify that with our county attorney.
Okay.
Okay. All right, y'all go ahead.
What did y'all
State your name and who you.
I got one before to
Oh,
the
that's
manager.
Okay, hold on.
But you know, this came up a while back, and I think the consensus of the commission right at that time was that this was something new. It was kind of like uncharted territory, and we wanted to get some more information about it. And one thing that we asked, I don't know whether it was you that time or Scott, but to do some research. I think you went to Dakota, some research to find out if,
It's actually me.
oh, but, okay, so find out if there in fact were any other counties or communities that had this particular type of business.
I sent something out to the counties on the listserv and then forwarded any halfway related answer that I got to him. And I think was it Lowndes County that gave you the link? But it was
Right.
basically the same thing, that it sounded like it would be something that, like a, what do we call it, a permit for each event kind of thing.
Special event permit.
Yeah, special event permit.
Yeah, we have to be
Plus that.
permitted everywhere we go. So like if we're licensed in Ware County and we do an event in Ware County, we're already licensed. But if I go to Alma and I do an event there, I have to get a permit from Bacon County saying that I can work and do that job in Bacon County and follow their rules as well as ours. So it's very strictly monitored, and we're not out here just trying to drive around with a trailer full of like liquor everywhere. We're very regulated as far as the state and the local alcohol sales and consumption laws. And also, you have to leave everything, we're hire based, so if we're not working, we're not, just stockpiling alcohol.
Well, and at that time, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead.
I can only speak for myself. I had reservation about it, and still have some reservation about it because, and I think you may well agree or may not agree that this is something new. And this is why, and this is why I asked the manager at the time to try to do some research to try to find out exactly all the particulars about it. And so here we are today.
So, Mr. Burse, to answer the questions on the research, Melinda did go out for listserv, which is where you get, help from other, or advice from other counties. But no one, from what I can tell, no one alluded to actually having an open business. They just alluded back to their ordinances. And their ordinances were a lot similar to what we have. And then it also required that, on which we would too, is, so if I hired them, then I would have to get a special event permit myself through the Planning and Codes Department, which notifies the sheriff, notifies public safety that event's going on. So it's kind of a twofold. They would obtain a license and have a license for events, but the host of the event still have to get a special permit.
And one of the questions I asked you too was, hypothetically, if this would take place, okay, you have this event, whereas now say you go to a bar or whatever, you got bartender, barkeep, what you want to call them, and they, provide alcoholic beverages, they can pretty much determine, okay, well, hey, you think you've had your limits, you're getting a little inebriated, and so in this case right here, if they hire you, who's basically liable? Not only for adult drinking, but say underage.
The persons that are distributing or selling alcohol, distributing alcohol will be liable. I think that's in the state statute that actually requires that you can't sell to somebody who was already intoxicated. It's even in convenience stores the same way as well.
Okay. So what about underage? Say you're having this event, but
It's their license.
Yes. Same, if we say you hire us for
Your
wedding
wedding.
reception or wedding, it'll be up to us to make sure that whoever we're serving is above 21.
And we've done trainings and certified as far as telling when somebody's had too much and being able to cut people off and proper ways to ID, and so we've already done the trainings to identify those types of things.
What's the difference in this thing and the one that, say, for instance, the National Rifle Association? When we go there, they serve drinks. There's no, is this the same thing that they
So
asking for?
it's the same thing essentially. However, there's exemptions in the laws that if you are a civic organization or a non-profit organization, then you're not required to have that catering license. You can serve without the catering license, as long as the host of that event got the special event permit. So that's the difference.
So this is gonna be different.
Yeah, this is for profit. That other's not for profit. The other is to support that foundation that they are.
That they're in,
in.
okay.
Anything else?
Already. Right, y'all got anything else? You got anything, baby?
Good.
I guess that's all. Okay. Thank y'all. Upgrade of aviation fuel contract. Mr. Frank, you come up.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is for the aviation gasoline truck. We have two fuel trucks out on the airfield. One's for jet fuel, the other one's for aviation fuel. Both of those are through our Perry Brothers contract that we renew every 5 years. We renewed that lease January of last year, 24. We were having issues with the aviation truck, just some mechanical stuff. It's an older vehicle that we were paying for. We didn't pay for the repairs as part of the contract, but it's been breaking down more routinely now, so it makes doing our jobs out there a little more difficult. And speaking with Mr. Dave Perry, the owner, he had a truck that has just come out of the shop that they've refurbished. It's about 4 years newer than the current one, but it's been completely rebuilt. So we were looking to get that to replace the aviation gas truck that we have that's breaking down often. So we'll do a one-for-one swap, but that'll increase our monthly charge to $175 more a month, just because it is a newer vehicle. And I went back historically, they have not raised their rental rates, and as far as I can tell, at least the last 2 contract periods. So we've been paying the same amount since 5 years prior to when we renewed our lease this past January for another 5. So the difference of that is what we're currently paying is $4,500 a year for the aviation gasoline truck. That new increase would take it to $6,600 a year for that. And that includes all maintenance on the vehicle, that includes annual inspections, certifications. Only thing we pay for is the fuel that operates the truck, and any, like you would on your normal car, wipers, lights, any fluids that need to be replaced, that would be it. But because of the money difference, this is something that's outside of my purview to be able to approve off, and plus you all signed that contract last year via county manager. So this would be in your wheelhouse to approve or disapprove.
I got a question.
Okay.
Do we have the money in the budget for the increase?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Chairman.
Y'all got anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, appreciate, Frank, our manager, coming in and, sharing this with us. And also, in addition to them providing all the maintenance on the vehicle, they also do some testing, I think said on something about filters or something like that.
Yes, sir.
Is that part of that contract also?
Yes, sir, it is. Every October is when they come out. They do both fuel trucks and they do both of the tanks at the tank farm. Those filters are required to be replaced annually, and that's part of that contract. So that's all looped into the truck.
Okay. One other thing, I called him when we get our weekly reports, with the different departments, and I saw this, I called him about it, and one of the questions I had was, naturally, okay, what would it cost if we bought our own fuel truck? And I think that amount was somewhere like $80,000 or more.
Right now, I got off the phone earlier this morning with a company I reached out to last week, just out of curiosity. If we bought even a truck that's comparable to what we currently have now, just the avgas truck, you're looking at $44,000 just for the truck, but that's not a certified truck. That does not include anything other than we bought it, we own it, we have to do all the maintenance. That does not come with fueling hoses. That's about another $2,900 purchase on just the one fuel hose. And then that's a 10-year shelf life on those hoses. The nozzles are the same, you have to get those certified. So we would have to pay for all of that out of pocket instead of what's looped into our contract every year that we have for that 5-year recurring.
Another question I asked Frank also was, next question was, does anyone in this area, right in Waycross or Ware County, provide that fuel And his answer was, no one even provides that.
No, sir. And I re-verified again with Lewis and Rawlson Friday afternoon. They do not do anything aviation. That's a specialized deal. Perry Brothers are quite literally the only thing we have within our area, and they are so good at what they do. They're, I would say, 80% of the general aviation airports in our state are serviced by Perry Brothers.
Which led me to my next question, I think. Actually, all these other small airports,
Yes, sir.
even as far as way to, I can't remember what the farthest distance was, but Perry Brothers are the one that service them
Yes,
with
sir.
the same type service.
That's right.
Where they out of?
America's.
America's, yours?
Yes, sir. I've been here 2 years now this week. We've never had an issue with them. When Mr. Cox was over there when I first started working, if the truck broke down like immediately, that we needed to get it running, they were over there to get it up and running, at least we could dispense fuel. But within 3-4 hour stops, a mechanic was on site repairing it or getting it to where it could still operate to dispense fuel until the part came in. So we've never really had no problems with them. They've been very forthcoming with it.
And there's no charges when they come out to repair the truck. That's all in the contract.
Unless it's something that we cause, and we damage the vehicle, or that will literally be it. Everything's covered under that contract.
Okay. Any more?
And this will be a 5-year contract?
Well, we would have 3 years, 11 months left on the current contract,
Okay.
so we'll just add on. We should, if you approve this, we should be able to take receipt of it by the end of the month.
Okay.
So it's starting March 1st.
Okay, Timmy, you got anything?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Frank?
C, District Attorney Purchase Request. Please come up.
How are you, Chairman?
Hey,
See, I am a little bit of a visual person, so I've got some handouts for you.
okay.
This is kind of a unique situation that we find ourselves in, where I'm the district attorney for 6 counties. Y'all are managing fiscal agent for 5 of the 6. And so I'm coming to you guys asking and just kind of proposing for some software for the office that is already built into our budget, and I'll explain that later. But I wanted to go ahead and kind of preview all in case for discussions for budget, I think closer to the end of the fiscal year for next year, just to kind of bring you in the loop and talk about it. So I am asking for something that I do believe we could purchase right now with my current budget that's already been allocated, but just kind of shifting the funds around. So Axon Justice is a software that has been created by Axon Enterprises for digital evidence management system. This is software that was built, tailored for prosecution to do exactly what we do every single day. The purpose of it is for district attorneys and state attorneys' offices across the country to be able to receive the voluminous amount of body cameras, dash cameras, jail calls, 911 calls, surveillance footage, all the things that law enforcement is now creating and having to maintain for prosecution to be able to receive that, be able to store it, and then give it to the defendant ultimately to be able to prosecute the case. Right now, I think historically, the way it has worked is law enforcement would wear their body camera, they would take their camera off, go back to the station at the end of their shift, would download that body camera footage. It would then be assigned to somebody at the agency to make copies when our office would request that. So we would be prosecuting John Smith, we would call the Ware County Sheriff's Office and say, we're requesting all, body cameras, dash cameras, anything related to a case involving John Smith, and somebody go into a system, click on it, download it, burn it to a CD. They would make copies, we would bring it back to our office, we would then burn a second copy, or third or fourth, depending on how many defendants are involved in a case, and send that out to the defense attorney for discovery. Discovery is a legal term that basically is everything in a case file involving a defendant that law enforcement has, that the state intends to use in the case, or goes to the innocent of the defendant. We're required by law to give a copy of it. We don't try cases by surprise, right? We have to provide everything over in disclosure. And so, as you can imagine, every time you go upgrade your cell phone, they're like, oh, well, now your phone can have 1 terabyte of data or 2 terabytes of data. So as body cameras are now creating better quality videos, they're no longer pixelated, they're better quality, this stuff is generating much larger case files, which in turn means it's taking a lot of time to download and copy and store all this data. And so we lose a lot of time making copies, essentially. And so with Axon Justice, they generated a cloud-based system, so it is stored in the cloud, by a system called Microsoft Azure. If you were technology savvy, I did put on there some of their customers just so you to see. Over 1,500 prosecution offices in the country are using Axon Justice. Azure is the cloud-based software system for CJIS, which is the Criminal Justice Information System. You know anything about law enforcement, that is who maintains your criminal histories nationwide for NCIC, GCIC. They are used by all of your federal agents through the Department of Defense, all the way down. I've got FedRAMP on there, that is the Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program, and then just private entities such as Adobe, Oracle, Dell, Verizon, Trust, Azure. So I just tell you that to say this is a healthy company. They're traded publicly on NASDAQ. This isn't just a pop-up business, essentially, is why I kind of wanted to fill you in on that. Axon Justice not only operates as a storage medium for us to be able to ingest the data from law enforcement and then to disseminate it to defense attorneys, it also is going to help us to be able to be more efficient with our jobs. Ran the numbers earlier. We currently have 5,300 cases pending in our office. We are still running about a 1 in, 1 out ratio as far as opening cases and closing cases. But that is an incredible amount of information that we are being inundated with. And when you take each of these cases now, there's generally going to be some type of recording involved. That could be a 911 call, that could be jail calls the defendant's making, jail, body cameras, dash cameras, in-car cameras, Sally Port cameras that are in your jails monitoring. There's lots of data, and through the software, it will create a transcript automatically for us to be able to quickly search a PDF to narrow in on the case. It will allow us to redact video, redact transcripts, to be able to use it for court presentation, for trial. We can, right now, if an officer arrived at a scene of a homicide, let's say the decedent is exposed, right now we wouldn't be able to show that video in the courtroom. It would just be disrespectful. But through the software, we would now be able to respectfully cover up parts, black it out on a video, not just using a still shot, to be able to give more situational awareness to jurors in the courtroom to be able to see exactly actively what's happening. It will also allow victims and witnesses opportunities and ways to safely send and share information to the district attorney's office. So we could give them a link. They can, through their cell phone, through an SMS text message, text us their Ring camera, download from their home surveillance system, and upload it directly into Axon. So it's going to be safer, really prevent our system here in Ware County from being potentially threatened through any type of virus, hacking, and all that kind of stuff. The system automatically generates case summary reports for faster file review, so attorneys are not having to go through hours and hours of data. They're going to be able to quickly be able to assess what's going to be important and where they need to focus their attention on. It will translate 57 different languages automatically into English. So if you have an officer that arrives on the scene and you've got a Spanish-speaking victim, say of a strangulation, instead of us just relying on what a deputy or somebody that's on the scene that can speak that language, we will be able to have a transcript of that so we can actually see what that victim was saying. And I got VOCA written on there, and that's, you'll recall, is here, I feel like just last month, maybe it was, we were renewing the VOCA grant. It actually requires that we have to provide services to non-English speaking victims and put in place services to be able to do that. And this is one way we can make sure that we are complying with that. Celebrate is the leader in cell phone download dumps. We get cell phone dumps sometimes that are 2 terabytes. We have to go to Staples, I don't know where we're going to go now, but to buy hard drives just to store that data. Generally, that information is given to us into multiple file folders. We have to maybe go to one file folder to see the GPS coordinates of the cell phone's location, go into another file folder to be able to see context of a text message that was sent. It just gets cumbersome. Their software, they actually have a partnership with Celebrate. It's going to create a much more user-friendly and ultimately in-game save time, be able to process this data, ingest it, use it, and move these cases faster. Defense attorneys, through their the bar rules of ethics, they have to wait for us to give discovery to them before they can take a plea offer to their client to plea. And so if we don't have this data that we can send out to the defense attorneys, they're not going to go talk to their client about taking a plea or trying to resolve the case. On the flip side, our office, my staff may not know how weak our case may be until we get that information. And so the faster we can get all of this information, read it, process it, it will greatly be able to speed up the time. And that's real important to Ware County Jail, particularly because it does house so many people, and to be able to get these cases hopefully resolved faster. It'll reduce human error from misplacing data. CDs get scratched easily over time to help us to be able to preserve it. Perhaps the disk gets dropped into the wrong case file, etc. We have 6 counties again, and so I've got one investigator currently right now that handles all of this kind of stuff. And so if Charlton County, needs me to go pick up body cameras, he's putting wear and tear on a vehicle, driving down to Charlton County to pick up stuff. Whereas this is going to allow a system, just evidence.com, they'll be able to go onto the Waycross website. We'll have our own dedicated link, and they'll be able to upload all this data directly. We currently have about 25 law enforcement agencies across the circuit. 11 of those agencies are already using an Axon-based system. So for Axon users, it will be pretty streamlined. It will be a faster process for those agencies. For the other remaining agencies, they will have the opportunity, they'll still be able to go on there and upload their information. I kind of told you earlier how historically we got data. The law enforcement officers, they would burn the disk, we would go pick up the disk, make copies. What has been happening more recently is law enforcement agencies are emailing our office links, and we have to now download those links. I had my investigator that currently helps with this go through. I just said, give me a snapshot of what 2 weeks looks like for you in this data. And we went and we added it up. There was over 100 emails sent to him for body cameras that he needed to burn onto CDs. That's to burn onto a disk, make a copy, or upload it onto our server for us to be able to share, give to the defendant. That also included requests to go pick up evidence, requests from attorneys to go fetch disks. You can pretty much count on one of that to open up a link, go find the case file, go grab a CD, put it in the computer, go through all the steps. For a standard video, nothing crazy, it probably takes about an hour of time 45 minutes, if you're generous, to be able to get that information downloaded, a CD burned, and the case file put back up. And so that is one employee over 100 requests being inundated. I mean, we have 25 agencies sending us data, trying to get this information, and we're trying to process it as fast as we can versus before where law enforcement agencies were making the copies and send to us. We are in a different time and era, and if we don't keep up with digital media, digital technology, and evidence, we're going to continue to fail our victims and our community. I just don't think we're going to be able to stay on top of essentially where prosecution, where it needs to be. You will see and hear the cost and the proposal. I had in fiscal year 24, we had created a digital media and IT specialist position. I wanted to have a point person to essentially do exactly the things I'm talking about doing. I shouldn't have to have a post-certified law enforcement officer run around the circuit making copies of CDs. And so we created a position for that. I think it's budgeted, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it was somewhere salary in the maybe 35 to 45 range, plus you add on benefits. And Ms. York told me that the estimated budgeted allowance, including the benefits and all the things the county's responsible for, is about $70,000. And so I have not been able to fill that position, and I've kind of held on to it when I became aware of Axon and really started digging deep. I just don't think that in any world we would be able to afford the amount of staff to do the things this software is going to be able to provide for us. I don't know that I said it, but it's in here. This software will transcribe like 16 hours of audio or video recording in about 5 minutes. And that's huge when you're talking about jail calls. That's so much time that we're going to save, be able to do this. And so you will see on here year one, because it includes a training cost, an upfront training cost plus year one, it is just under $60,000 for that. Now, remember, we've had a position vacant since July 1, 2024 that hasn't been filled. That was budgeted for up to $70,000 total, which means it's a savings of $10,000 if you look at it like that. So this is money that's in my budget, and I think as a constitutional officer, I think I can shift that money around. I think the concern was, and wanted me to come to the commission, is because in order to lock in these rates, it's a 10-year contract. I did ask about what happens if the money's not appropriated, say taxes, something happens and money's cut later in the line, and you just have to give them a 30-day notice to cancel. So if you are signing a 10-year contract, it's more of you're trying to lock in your annual rate. And then, year 2 to year 10, it increases like 4% on the back end. So year 2, the price goes down because you're not paying that upfront training cost, the $15,000. So it's year 2, you'll see is $46,487, and then it goes on. And if you look attached at the back, there should have been a graph, and it actually outlines those annual expenses each year. So if you look at it as a package over the entire 10-year period, we're still coming in under the $700,000 that would be allocated to a full-time position over a 10-year period at $70,000. But again, I feel like going forward with this software is the right thing to do. They are a leader in law enforcement technology and the forefront of prosecution. I feel like it's the right decision for us at the right time. But I'm still going to need people to help manage it, right? Like you still need somebody in there. And so I guess the ask is going to be, okay, Marilyn, you have the money, you don't need us to reallocate that funding, right, from a position to software, but I would like to try to see if we can continue to fund that position beginning fiscal year July 1, 2025, to where then I can still hire somebody to hopefully manage and pay at the same, rate that we currently offer for. I don't know if you have any questions or. And I don't know if I know all the answers to Axon. I've been kind of researching them and some competitors and some different stuff and keep coming back to them, so.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
appreciate your presentation and Mr. District Attorney, and, so to make sure I'm on the same page, the total cost is what, over the 10-year period, what, about $500,000?
It's on page 1 of the chart, it's
Right.
$551,670. So it's 150, almost less than the 700,000 that would be allocated if setting aside filling that position and funding it.
Okay, but you still need that position funded.
In an ideal world, I've got 6 counties and I've got 1 investigator. And this isn't really an investigative position, but right now, the investigator is the best person to do this job because that person's worked in law enforcement and knows, how, I guess, law enforcement works. But I still kind of stand by, I think you could hire, which is why I created this digital media IT specialist in our office. I feel like you could have a computer nerd, for lack of better words, I guess, to be able to come in to do this kind of thing. Because we don't have our own IT department. Ware County IT services that for us. But there are times where it would be nice to have your own in-house person that can manage. Just like today, I was trying to print this stuff off and my computer's not connected to the internet. It'd be nice to have somebody right there in your office that you can call on to make this stuff happen. So to do that and also serve, part of the training, this upfront cost is they spend several days training your current folks, but they also try to spend some time training a couple people in your agency to be the next trainer, right? So when you bring on new people, you can continue passing the torch. And so you have somebody that's kind of the lead on it. And to be frank, I've talked to some other DAs that use the software in their circuits. I'm not saying it's going to be an issue here, but in their circuits, like Georgia State Patrol has been an agency that may not be on board with uploading their stuff into Axon. I could still, as the account holder, create my digital case file and upload everything they give to me on a jump drive into the portal to have the benefits of the discovery process and the transcription and all that stuff, all the tools that are in the system. But you're still going to need somebody to sit there behind the computer and upload it. Also, if, again, you've got your victim that shows up and maybe law enforcement didn't get their surveillance footage from their doorbell, but we can get it, you need somebody to be able to facilitate it.
Okay, and that's the $70,000 for that employee.
No, sir, it's total cost. So I think, I'd have to go and look, I'm sorry I don't have it with me in front of me right now, but I think what we had it budgeted for was $38,000 salary up to maybe $48,000. It was going to be somewhere in that range, depending on experience.
But then the benefit package and everything, that's when it would equate to $70,000.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, so it'll still be $70,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But I just don't want to mislead the public and think that we're paying somebody $70,000.
Right. Okay.
I got a question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know, I just want to ask a question. You said you got 6 counties?
I do.
Okay, does any of them other counties pitch in and help?
So, that's a great question. So, years ago, before I was here, Ware County entered into an agreement, and I don't remember which judge it was that set it up. If Mr. Barnhill was here, I'm sure he could tell us all. But Ware County is our managing fiscal agent, and then we bill Bacon, Brantley, Pierce, and Charlton out for their pro rata share of the overall budget. So, and then I can control the budget from there. And so y'all approve the budget, it's there, but then usually I think around June or so, letters are mailed out to these smaller counties and say, hey, based on the last census, this is, and the budget for the DA's office has been approved for, this is your estimated monthly cost. If you have an objection, contact the district attorney. And so then it's just billed out monthly and they just mail a check. Coffee County has always just kept Coffee County, kept them separate. I've not gone to Coffee County about this. My budget in Coffee County is unique, it's a different beast. When talking to the sales folks with Axon, the way that they do their contracts is based on the circuit. And the rate they provide is based on your circuit full-time employees. So I couldn't parse out coffee. And so I've got the vacancy here, I've got the money here, so so essentially 5 of the counties would be sharing the cost.
Okay, that's
And
what I was
currently still do, right. And not to say that I couldn't go to them in the future and ask, just right now, this is where I had the vacancy. I just feel like it's the most pressing need.
Okay, you say that you have the money in the budget right now, basically for the bid cost of $500,000.
No. What I have in my budget right now is, well, yes, I would, I guess, because I've got a employee position that hasn't been filled. And then nobody's been in that position since July 1. So for year 1, there's sufficient funds to cover the year 1 startup cost. As long as that didn't change, I could continue to roll on for 10 years with that, because if $70,000 over 10 years, that's $700,000 budgeted. I'm just essentially leave that position vacant and reallocate that fund to software for an overall cost of $551.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, I would like to try for July 1, 2025, go ahead and keep that position filled. Or
In
funded.
other words, this gonna increase your budget. How much that you're going?
I haven't done the math on it overall, because you would just be reallocating the funds, right? So you would just be trying to keep the, well, it would be 551 minus the startup cost for year 1, if you, over a 10-year period. Or 9-year period, because year 1 would be paid for with the surplus in my budget for this year.
Okay.
I'm
always for cutting things, not adding to, but.
I understand, but I've got
I'm
a
a
lot
farmer.
I've got, oh, and you know what, I about forgot, maybe the
I
most
won't cut
important
the
part of
budget.
all of this, Judge Gillis would be on me. I do have a letter from Judge Gillis on behalf of the bench. I would just, if I may approach, give that to you.
Thank you.
This is, they just, I don't know, my office stamped it like it was coming to us, but that was just supporting it.
Have y'all got anything else?
And I do want to just say, if I may, you know, there have been multiple times in all my counties, not just Ware, where we have said, Judge, we are ready for trial. And the judge has said, is all discovery disclosed? And we have said yes. And then you have an officer on the stand testifying, and he's like, well, it's on my body camera. If you had my body camera video, you would know. And we're like, wait a second. Y'all told us we've disclosed everything. We've tried to. And there is a breakdown between sometimes what the officer believes has happened once he takes his body camera off and uploads it to a portal. And when we make that request from law enforcement that we received everything. This is going to try to eliminate that, because everybody will be on the same page. Law enforcement would equally be able to go into their case file and see exactly what they have already turned over to us. As I've heard complaints, you know, from Ware County Sheriff's Office that, you know, y'all have requested the same case file 3 times. Why do y'all keep losing the case file? Well, we don't have a record of it. You know, well, where is it? And so it's going to help streamline some of this, make everything more efficient, because every time you got to repeat steps, it's costing time.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, the
Okay.
people that suffer are going to be your victims and your defendants.
So, does the state of Georgia, do they have any type of program or grants, anything to?
I
Yeah.
have actually brought this up at our recent DA meeting. Axon actually just sold the entire state of Tennessee, I think it was, the Axon for all their state prosecution officers for statewide. And so I did request and say, is there why can't PAC in their budget request ask for the legislature to set aside funding? Because I would think their bargaining power would be much greater on a statewide level than my bargaining power on the local level. At the end of the day, I don't know. I discussed bargaining with Axon. I was pretty much told that all of our stuff is public record, so we're traded publicly. Our contracts are public record because we're dealing with government agencies and law enforcement. And so our rates were set in stone. But I was essentially told that's not a priority to us right now, and so we're not doing it.
Well, the reason I asked that question because last I checked, seemed like the state of Georgia was sitting on, what, $6 billion surplus, and
Sure would be
I would
nice to
think-
do it, send it our way.
that would be like giving you a couple of pennies, out of that budget, to take care of that. And I'm like, the chairman said, we want to try to do everything, be proactive, but by the same token, we dealing with taxpayers' money, and we don't want to be just keep spending. And if there's any way we can cut and save, we want to try to do that also.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I am, have an internal battle with myself on this, because I don't want to be the one requesting to turn over jobs to robots or, there's just a lot here that's conflicting. But I can tell you that we are kind of to a point in the criminal justice division that if we don't keep up with technology, it's going to continue to impact our cases. We are not funded as well as we should be from the state. If you look at studies that show what the average public defender should be able to, their average caseload, they say that they should not have more than about 150 cases per attorney. There's never been a study nationwide that says how many cases a prosecutor should have. The difference there is the state, with prosecution, we have the burden of proving the defendant's guilt. The defendant doesn't have a burden. They don't have to do anything. So we're the ones that have to review every case, decide if there's sufficient evidence to proceed, and we handle all cases, not just cases given to us through like the public defender system, where the attorneys may go, or defendants may go hire private counsel. And whenever you start looking at the amount of responsibilities that are added on to us, it's a lot. And my attorneys right now average between 600 and 800 cases each. And so when you start looking at that and you think about every single case having lots of videos, lots of discovery, technology is wonderful. Like there's pros and there's cons. There's definitely times where we've had it help us, and there's times where we're like, this officer acted inappropriately, and so we have to operate with that. But it is, we're just being inundated, and now because these other agencies are getting sold software where they're like, oh, well, you can just send a link to the DA's office. You don't have to copy all these discs anymore. So what's happening is my agency is having to sit there and copy all this stuff now for, it's not all 25, but we have a lot of agencies and they start dumping all their stuff on us and it's going to one person. It's just not practical. We cannot keep operating, and what's going to happen is I'm going to have folks like my investigator is going to leave to go do something else because this is too much work.
Well, I would hope that you would continue to pursue checking with the state, because
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, the state's a player in this also, and with them realizing the caseload, like you say you have, and I think that it would be incumbent upon them to try to see if they could do it. And just like this letter you gave us with Judge Gillis, I think it'd be good if they could send letters from the different counties that you represent to the state and to our state representative, whatever, to try to see if we can get some help on that.
I have, it's been discussed, but I will keep pushing on.
Okay.
I know I participate each Friday. We have a legislative update with folks that are at the Capitol because they're in session right now. I try to stay active in that, but outside of that, I'm here trying to take care of our circuit.
Ms. Bennett.
Okay.
So if I remember correctly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but whenever you were running for district attorney, I think one of your points was to expedite the judicial system in Georgia, and not Georgia, but in our district, because we have a big backlog of cases, all in all 6 counties, I'm assuming. Is this gonna help you
Absolutely.
expedite the process of?
Absolutely. I think it is proven, again, like I said earlier, defendants and defense attorneys are not going to encourage their client to take a plea offer to resolve their case if they don't have full discovery. They're not going to have full discovery until I get everything from law enforcement. If we can somehow streamline getting that information from law enforcement to get it in the hands of the defense attorney faster, because all this is gonna do for your Axon users, it will immediately be available to my office. The time they upload it to the portal, we'll have an interagency agreement where I'll have access to it. For your non-Axon users, I've talked to most of the agency heads. They all seem to be on board, ready to implement this. But it will allow them, they're gonna have somebody have to go on to evidence.com, should say /Waycross, whatever the link is, and they'll go in there and they'll generate that. Because right now, it's almost like we play catch up. You know, we're trying to get this stuff on the back end. We gotta start getting this stuff as soon as it's available. Within 30 days of arrest, the DA's office needs this information.
Right, instead of 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
In some
Absolutely.
cases, and so, because, you know, we should.
By then, the data's gone. If you
Right.
wait 2, 3 years, it's deleted off of a portal somewhere, and it's not maintained. And so we need this information. I mean, we just, like I said, we've got to keep up with it. And because our caseloads are so high, last year or 2 years ago, the legislature modified the duties of the district attorney to say the DA is required to review each and every case to make a prosecutorial decision. Well, when you've got 5,300 cases in your circuit, I mean, just imagine this. Even for one person, 600 to 800 cases. I just don't know it's hard to even fathom what that looks like in time. But it's a lot, and so if we can take advantage of some technology, if that means that I don't have an extra person sitting over there in my office working, burning CDs, so that we can have access to the software, it's gonna pay for itself tenfold, not just in the office, but just even in Ware County alone. Even if Ware County just funded it for Ware County, if that was even an option, just pay for it just outright. Because the Ware County Jail, I think, it holds over 600 inmates. And so the faster we can get plea offers and discovery to those defendants and their attorneys, faster we can either resolve those cases, whether that's through a probated plea, get them out of the jail, or to send them on to the Department of Corrections, put them on the state dime. But the faster we can move these cases, it's going to be beneficial.
All right, any more?
I don't have anything.
Thank you.
And as always, I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Consideration. I
Thank
don't
you,
know if I
ma'am.
need to stay, Mr. Chairman, Mr.
Well, it just depends. So right now, we're just in the work session. There will be a meeting tonight, and so you all just need to determine, is this an agenda item that you'd like to add to the meeting tonight? And do you expect you to have any more questions for Ms. Bennett? Or if I know she's busy, so she may have other stuff she needs to do.
I can stay, I'm at your pleasure.
Okay. So we'll carry it over
Okay, thank you.
and discuss it.
Miss Marilyn, you need this one?
So what are we,
If you'll give it to the clerk,
what
she
is
can
she
put it as
actually-
part of the minutes.
want?
Well,
Other than-
that's the reason I asked her what did increase the budget.
It's already in there, I think is what she's trying to sell you.
Actually, Marilyn, we're gonna have to increase the budget for you to be able to do this. Is this correct?
Not for initially, no. Ultimately, yes, I just don't know if you're in budget sessions, if it's the appropriate time to be asking for that. So what I'm asking for is myself or for chairman to enter into a 10-year contract with Axon for us to be able to get this on board and go live April 1. And if that's approved, the money's already there, I'm just moving it around from a position to software. But the secondary request is, okay, we're gonna approve this, but we're also gonna fund your position as of July 1 to maintain that other position, so long as my other 4 counties that contribute to the budget don't object, right? Because they'll still get their letter showing like an increase in the DA budget, and and there may be some other things. So I just don't want to enter into a 10-year contract and then come back and say, hey, I've just used my money for a position for software, and I want you to give me a position. I'm trying to be upfront and honest with the commission to let you know where we're going.
So that's the reason I was asking that. So when you ask for your budget to be renewed, it's gonna probably be an increase. Is that Y'all get that, that
Right.
probably will have to be an increase.
Yes.
for that position anyway, but Mr. Chairman, and also, and like I said, that's why I wanna make sure we're clear on this. So, the other counties, you say you're gonna let them know. So do we need to know that beforehand, kinda, so we can kinda see where we are?
We haven't done it that way in the past. Historically, I think what's happened is we just send them a letter letting them know what their new bill is gonna be. And we wait and see if they have an objection or have an issue, and then we address it at that time. But that would just be for funding the other position. Again, if something were to happen and, you know, either they oppose, they don't wanna fund the position, then I think I would still, as a constitutional officer, be able to have the discretion to say, okay, I either want to continue with Axon Justice as budgeted, you know, just in my overall budget, or, I want to go talk to these other counties and try to get them on board with fully funding this other position. Or alternatively, the third option would be to send Axon their 30-day notice that, hey, this software has no longer been funded and we're cutting it. We want to cancel our contract.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, go ahead.
If I'm hearing correctly, what we need to do, or what you're asking us to do for this evening or at our next meeting, whenever it may be, is to approve or disapprove the 10-year contract with Axion. I feel like that would be the issue at hand, and then as far as keeping or adding another person to your budget, another employee, that would go into when we're getting into budget discussions, which is probably coming up in the next couple months.
Sure.
So we probably, I mean, I appreciate you being upfront and saying, hey, this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Whether we can do that or not, well, we'll have to see that whenever we get to.
That's right, because
the budget.
depending on, I mean, there could be other line items based on where I'm at overall in my budget, where we may need a computer, just for
Right.
example, I don't know, yeah,
But it's in your budget now, so it's just a matter of moving it around.
correct.
Gotcha.
We just need to give you the okay to go ahead.
That's right, that's all I'm asking is for, right. And I think the concern was, you know, when I was talking to Mr. Schubert, it was just that this was a 10-year contract. We probably need to make sure that the commission is aware of
Okay.
it.
So do we, I mean, is there any need for us to approve something since it's her budget?
So the budgetary level of control of constitutional officers is complicated. It's done, you know, county by county. It depends on the level of detail in the budget that's given as to how freely, you know, they can move money, you know, within, without the commission's approval. So, you know, based on what I understand the district attorney is saying is, this is money that, you know, is quote, in her budget. It was for a separate line item. So assuming that her budget is set up where she may freely move money within line items, then yes, it does not require your approval. But I think what they're trying to do is explain, listen, we're doing this, but we want it continued to be funded, you know, coming up. I mean, we've got very quickly, budget meetings coming up. And so, you know, that's the point, I believe, of this conversation is to make sure everybody's aware, on the same page, and understanding moving forward. One thing I communicated to the county manager was I would like to pull the agreement between Ware County and these other counties, and understand, you know, as their fiscal agent, what is your right to make decisions on their behalf? You know, was that only a pro rata division of salaries that were already approved? Does that also include, you know, things like this?
It's the entire budget.
Yeah, okay. So I hadn't looked at that lately, so I'd like to pull that just so you all can have that also.
And I'm glad the attorney said that, because what did you say you want to try to implement this by April 1?
So right now, the way that their training and what they call onboarding or their go live is set up, the earliest available we could get going on it is April 1, but they would need to know something pretty quickly to do that. Otherwise, you're just going to get delayed to May 1st.
Okay, so we have some time. It's not a decision we have to make tonight.
Well, we need to make something pretty quick if we're going to go for April 1. I mean, you know, otherwise it's just going to push back. Depending on, because they assign you like a training team. I mean, this is a nationwide company, and so they're gonna assign you a training team to be able to provide this training to our office and my staff. And so right now, if we were to let them know, say by Friday, that we're good, we're ready to go for April 1. They didn't give me like a hard cutoff, but I did ask them about moving it to March 1, and that was 2 weeks ago. And they said that was already, it was too late to do
Okay.
that March 1.
And the reason because you say you want to look at the contracts, I mean, the agreement we have, right?
Well, I
Would
mean,
that-
I certainly take the district attorney's, word certainly here. So if she's confident that's the case, then I don't mind communicating that to you all. I was just saying it might be to you all's benefit to understand, exactly what was in that agreement. And so,
I have not seen that agreement
Okay.
myself, but I just know how, when I've seen the billing with Ms. York
That's how they do
and
it.
how what is billed out to the other counties, it's the entire budget.
And we likely can pull that today between the meetings. Hopefully, I know we've got a lot of public hearings and we're running a little behind on our time, but I expect we could
So when is
pull
our,
that.
when is our next meeting?
After
We'd
have
to
today would
call
be your
one and
call
get
meeting
one at
next
the end of the
Thursday.
month.
Which is like 3 days.
We got a hearing,
Right.
It's
I
the
mean,
we can't do it then.
yeah,
The 13th.
if you wanna put it on Thursday.
So we have a public hearing on Thursday, and then we're gonna have a called meeting just after that, public hearing. That's the item we could add to that agenda if we need to.
Can we table it till then?
Yeah.
With that, and
Because
let
that's
us find out a
Thursday,
little
just
more.
this
That'd be all right.
Thursday.
Till-
That'll give us a little bit of time.
Yeah,
to look.
I
Thursday.
feel more comfortable once she reviewed
Okay,
the agreement that we have with them and everything. That way we can make a decision and
Okay.
make it based off the fact we have it.
well, let's table it then until that call meeting Thursday.
But
If that'd be all
again,
right with you, ma'am,
yeah,
we'll find out.
again, I want to clarify, the decision is not approving or disapproving, I mean, my assumption is that the district attorney will enter into the contract, from her office. Basically, what she's looking from you all is, do you not object so that then there will be funding for this going forward? So, I mean,
Right.
I don't know that it's even a vote required. Honestly, it's just consensus as to what your intent is coming up on the next budget cycle.
Our concern is, though, her budget increase.
Well,
Right.
See, that,
I
that's
understand.
what
Yeah.
I wanna know.
Mr. Chairman, there's no budget increase this year.
Not this year.
And
Then
that's
you
why
get this on.
Ms. Bennett came was to let you know that, that she would like to negotiate for budget for starting next fiscal year to keep that position funded. So that's when the decision will have to be made as far as the budget goes. It's not today because she has it. And then say in April, they present the budget and the commission says, well, it's not there to do both. Then she'll have to make that decision at that time, whether to send out a 30-day letter at the end of year one to Axon, or to say, well, this is more beneficial than having that position, so I just want to keep this program.
Yeah.
And I think that's correct. Because if you just, it's a cost savings overall of, I think it was $150,000 over a 10-year
Yeah.
timeframe.
After,
From what is currently budgeted. I just don't want to be like, okay, just on my own, I'm gonna take an employee position and keep it vacant and reallocate that funding to software, and then come to you guys and say, hey, I want to ask for additional funding to fund this position because I've reallocated my money. I just want to be upfront with the
Right.
commission and let you guys know that there is absolutely a need for this, but I do think that our office is still underfunded. I think if you were to look at other circuits, I think you would probably see that. We're completely underfunded, but I think, I'm kind of Mr. Burris, I think it's more of a state issue. You prosecute state crimes, and so I don't disagree with that.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to operate within the realm of where we're at, and I do think this is a better use of taxpayer dollars, because again, I don't know how many people you would have to hire to be able to do the things this software is capable of doing.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question.
all right, you got,
So you gonna use this from April till June without that employee, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, because the upfront cost, because of that training cost, it's gonna eat a good chunk of money.
okay. All right, and any more?
So.
And we appreciate it.
with that, unless you tell me otherwise, I don't need to stay for the next session.
I think that's fair. But yeah,
Okay.
I don't, we
Yeah,
know,
we probably
we're
gonna
confident
carry
it's
it
not
over
gonna be
till
on the
Thursday.
agenda tonight, so
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, we'll,
And then we'll have the county manager communicate with you further.
Okay, that sounds good. And if I need to
Yeah.
be back on Thursday, y'all will let me know.
Thursday, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank
time, I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right. Let's go, we'll carry that note. Thank you.
Go ahead.
D, discussion regarding providing services at Memorial Park and Bailey Street Park.
Mr. Chairman, I was contacted by Mr. Hall, Rusty Hall with the YMCA about the operation of the pool. He was inquiring to see if the county commission would like to operate the Bailey pool again this year. He knew there was some discussion that last year would be the last year that we operate that pool. So I asked him what the cost would be. He said it'd be the same as last year. I think it was $12,000 for lifeguards, plus $40 per hour for a off-duty officer. And so we did some research and looked, and then we found that the MOU with the city for Bailey Street Park and Memorial Park actually expired December 31 of this past year. So we just bringing this before the commission to see if something they want to pursue and try to renew some of the MOU. I know there was discussion that the city would take it over after 2024. I've spoken with Lance, and Lance, he was kind of, Bailey Street Park, ultimately both of them is your decision, but, Bailey Street Park, he's kind of up in there, whatever the commission wants to do. But if any way possible, he would like to keep the Memorial Street Park MOU with the city, because he does have after-school programs, summer programs with kids
And he
at
gets
that
the boost
location.
grant.
And there's a boost grant that he gets to help with that, so. And that's what we have before you today is do you want us to proceed with trying to reach an MOU with the city again, or for both parks, or one park, or what direction you want to go? I know Mr. Hall did say that he wouldn't commit, that the Y is interested in opening it yet, but he just need to know so he can kind of prepare or plan, and then he would let us know if he would actually be interested, or if the YMCA would be interested in operating the Bailey Street Park again.
Did you find out about the splash
Okay.
pad when that's
Any-
been put in?
Yeah,
Buddy got anything?
yeah, Mr. Chairman,
'Cause that's
just
supposed to replace
a little short synopsis of what happened. The city approached the county about taking over the Bailey Street Park and the Memorial Park because they got an infusion of $250,000 from the state, and they were gonna take over the park. So we talked with them and pretty much had an MOU with the city that they would take over the Bailey Street Park and the Memorial Park. Well, unfortunately, Commissioner Davis passed before this came to fruition. And so with that happening, then it was never signed. I understand Lance think that it was signed, but I haven't seen it. It haven't come before us. So now we have that district was without representation for a period of time. So they do have a representative on the city commission now, and I would hope that we could go back to them and see if they still are interested in pursuing it like they had spoke about it, to take over Bailey and Memorial Park. My thing is on the Bailey Street Park, this is the only park that we have that has a swimming pool in the city. And this is something that's very, I think, needed for the community, for the kids during the summer to swim, learn swimming, I guess. So this is what I was hoping. This is one of the things that I was hoping that the city would agree to continue to keep the pool open, but we couldn't put that mandate on them. If we signed that MOU, then it would be their baby at that point. So if we don't have an MOU for them to take over, then I would hope that we could continue to have that pool open for this summer. Lance has already said he went out and checked the pumps and everything, so everything is good on that end. Last year we had some issues with the pumps. So I would hope that we could do that for the community in, District 1 on Bailey Street to have that pool open. And as you indicated, it's 12,000, I think, for the lifeguards and then so much for security at that
Yes, sir.
pool out there.
I got a question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
James, who runs the pool now, the YMCA or us? Or-
So the YMCA runs the pool if we have that contract with them to run it.
Okay, but we just
provide
have
the
to pay the,
So they provide the lifeguards.
Right.
And we pay they pay the lifeguards, and we pay the YMCA back, and I think we pay off-duty security, off-duty police officers for security.
so it costs us $12,000?
12,000 for the lifeguards, that's 4 lifeguards for the summer. The dates are in your packet on in the MOU. That won't be the exact dates, but that would be close. Plus $40 an hour for off-duty, and then whatever the chemicals are for the pool, which I don't have a clue on those as right now.
Okay, so if the city takes it over, we still gonna have to pay $12,000?
No, sir, the city will.
It'll be their baby then.
Let's see if we can send it to the city.
Well, I can meet with Duke, city manager. I'll try to call him and see if we can meet and kind of see what their intentions are. I'll try to do it
That's
before
good.
Thursday as well.
Okay, well, I think that'll be good because, they were the one that approached us about wanting to take it over. And,
Right.
I think one of the things they toyed with the idea of, they keeping the softball fields and everything, but maybe where the pool is, because the pool costs, a lot of communities now going to these splash pads. And so, that was one of the things that they were talking about. They have one at Mayor Street Park right now, Roberts Park over there. And they said that may be something, they didn't rule out that they wouldn't keep the pool, but they were just saying that, you know, they would look at something like that.
I think Ms. Brooks said they may be actually entertaining putting one out there, a splash pad out there at Bailey Street, but I'm not real sure.
That was the conversation with Lance the other day.
But they haven't signed that MOU, right?
No, the last MOU that we have is the one that expired in December that said that we expressed the intent to discontinue the programs. That's the last signed one we have, which is why we're bringing it back up.
Okay, so right now, that we don't have a signed MOU from them stating that we're gonna turn the parks over to them.
Right, yeah, that language was not included in this one last year.
We need to get one then.
Yeah.
So
That's what
that was
we're
why
trying
we
to
wanted
get
to,
Norman paid.
he wanted to bring it up so you could discuss it and see what direction we would take this.
Right.
So we need to do that then at the regular meeting next, go ahead and.
Well, or just let us, give us
Hopefully,
direction
he's
on
gonna
what
meet
we
with the managers, city manager, and see, you know, where we are on that.
Okay,
I'll try to get an answer from the city manager by Thursday.
Thursday, okay. We'll carry that over Thursday then. Okay. All right, manager comment? You got any?
Yes, sir, I have one, comment, and I'll try to be brief.
Is that on the road here?
It's on the Albany Avenue grade separation.
Okay.
We can wait till after the end of the meeting to do this comment if you
That'd
like.
be good.
Yeah, we can, okay, cause this just needs to be with the,
So we can do it at the regular meeting.
okay, at the end of the regular meeting.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it then.
And that way we can break and go to the, public hearings.
Okay, is it, any commission got anything? If not, I hear a motion to adjourn this work session.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we'll be back in, let's take
10 minutes.
10 minutes. And then we'll come back and get the meeting started. 10 minutes. We've already, said the prayer and the pledge of allegiance. I'm gonna bypass that and move on. We've done a roll call. This is our Ware County Board of Commission public hearing request to name private roadway on Monday, February 10th, 4:30. It's later than that now. Okay, this is a request. It's a request to consider the naming of a private roadway to Dead End Road. This private road is located approximately 1,200 feet west of the intersection of Elmsgrove Road and Banks Lane and extends approximately 700 feet to the south ending at the Dead End cul-de-sac. Okay, we got who's for this, wants this thing done.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just quick, this is a road that is private that was actually kind of inherited or kind of just gained the name of Elmer Thrift Road. And the purpose for this is we run out of address numbers. And it's getting confusing for 911 because you see the different roads that's in there. So we sent out letters. We had one response, and they wanted to respond. Their response was to name it either Dead End Road or their name. And because there's different landowners, we wouldn't do their name. And I spoke to another landowner on that street at the end, and she was okay with Dead End Road as well.
There's a lot of dead end roads, that's gonna
Well,
be
it's just
hard.
named Dead End Road. So we don't,
911, they go find out, let's go down
We
a
don't-
dead end road.
we don't have any other names as Dead End Road. We checked with 911, so.
Oh, there's not any?
We've
Okay.
got a bunch of Dead End Roads, but not with that name, so.
And I've got it pulled up on the map just to show you roughly where it's at.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay, anybody opposed it being changed to the Dead End Road? Anybody opposed? If not, we'll carry it over. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see, this one. And this is a request to close and abandon approximately 500 feet of the alley that runs southwestwardly from New Mexico Avenue to Nevada Avenue, located in Block 214 of the Emerson Park subdivision. Okay, John, you come up and tell us about this one? How many you gonna close?
Basically, we were contacted by one of the property owners, requesting that that alleyway be closed. It's currently not being maintained by the county. It's basically, it's one of these old, alleys that was put in based on the old Emerson Park subdivision. This is back from 1913. So they're just looking to close it.
Don't nobody use it?
No, sir.
Nothing?
It's not used.
Not being used? There's no canal down it or nothing like that?
I'm sorry, what was
It's
that?
not a canal or
No.
any public utilities going down it? Okay.
I can't zoom in just there on that.
And you say it's also not being currently maintained by the county?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's not currently being maintained by the county. It's just old right of way that's not in use.
How wide is it?
10 foot.
10 foot? Okay.
And we're just going ahead and proposing to close that whole section through there. That way, county's not having to worry about it.
Where is it at?
In between New York and Connecticut.
Right under that?
Yep. And
That
in between New Mexico and Nevada.
All the way through.
So you said it's 10 feet wide?
Yes,
And
sir.
so we would split down the middle and property owners would get either side of it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. Anybody oppose that, closing of that alley? Anybody oppose it? If not, let's carry it over. Okay. Go to the next one.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question.
Okay.
I just realized I think I own some land right there. Will it be, can I vote on it?
Is it adjoining land?
According to this map, I believe it is.
George, you have some property there on it?
I believe so.
Okay.
Which lot you on?
Hard to tell right there.
Okay. Commissioner Cox, in light of that, if you are agreeable, is to not participate in the public hearing and to not participate in the vote.
Okay.
And he did say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Carried over, let's go to the next one. We have one more. Okay, this is a public hearing for adoption of rezoning for unzoned parts of Ware County.
This is the rest of the county.
What is this? You come up here. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically, what we're requesting is to amend the Ware County zoning ordinance to zone the areas that are currently unzoned in Ware County per draft map that has been approved by the Waycross Ware County Planning Commission at their January 9th meeting. This puts us in, it fills in the gaps that were basically left open. Let me try to zoom into some areas. I'll turn it off. So just to compare, this is what is currently zoned in the county, if it'll pop in. So we've got all these flood zones listed as conservation. We've got CDD running along Corridor Z, Brunswick Highway, and Jacksonville Highway. And mostly just around the city, basically, that's currently zoned. So what we're wanting to do is fill in these gaps that you see that are just unzoned. This helps fill in some of our requirements from the comprehensive plan, or objectives, depending on how you want to phrase it. For the most part, most of it's just going in as agriculture. You have some areas like, for example, Wayhoma, the smaller parcels that are closer to the highway, we've got those shown as R75MH. Down towards Pine Island Road, R75MH. Trying to zoom over, we decided since this area off of Josephine Park is a little bit more, I guess you could say more rural, I guess you could say. We decided to just stick with A for that area, but
And A being what, Dustin?
A, agriculture, forestry.
Hey,
So just putting in a basic zoning out there. Similar sort of situation out towards, sorry, zooming in by accident. Come on, computer. So we've got some areas up towards Jamestown. Just trying to zoom. So we're looking at like some of these smaller parcels like Spring Street area, R75MH, R90 for this area off Jordan Drive. Otherwise, mostly agriculture on this side of the tracks. You've got a little splash of C1 here where the old roller rink is.
and R75 behind it. You got mostly mobile homes out there. You got some site-built homes, but it's mostly mobile homes out there. Oops, I just accidentally. We've also got out toward Millwood Plantation, A2, which would go in line with their existing HOA, which is site-built only agriculture. So you got the Millwood Plantation stuff out here. We've also gone ahead and added in CDD, Corridor Development District, for Valdosta Highway. For some reason, it just wasn't zoned in the past when the rest of the CDD districting was put in. So we're trying to correct that by adding in that for Valdosta Highway. That allows most of your residential, commercial, industrial uses on that. But they have to go through DOT for their driveway requirements. If there's any place in particular you've got questions about, I'm more than open to zoom over to them to let you take a look. There's also some paper maps that I left for you in the chamber, but I'm
What
open
will
to
that
comments
change?
or questions.
What, will that change anything on that property if you had, it don't, what does it consist of change that zoning?
Basically putting in base requirements for the zoning in the area. That way you don't have different uses or whatnot coming in next to an area that it could be troublesome or cause issues for, or a nuisance towards. Like an industrial use near a residential area, for example.
I got a question.
Or something to that effect.
Okay.
How did you come up with what, to zone it, kind of basically what was out there?
For the most part, yes. We tried to go with agriculture as a base because for the most part it allows a lot of your uses for residential. It allows some commercial, but mostly for like agriculture related commerce, roadside stands or blueberry packaging plants, that kind of stuff. So it's that's the kind of stuff that can be pulled into agriculture. And from there, for areas like subdivisions where you've got these smaller lots out in the county, we tried to go with the R75 MH as a way to show that, hey, those are smaller lots. You really shouldn't be having all these agriculture-related things like livestock and whatnot in these small lots.
But they can still be changed if you go through.
Yeah, if they wanted
you
to
want
have it
change the
rezoned,
zone.
they could go through the rezoning process and have that changed.
Like,
For example, over in Dixie Union, we've got this one little area where there is a junkyard, scrapyard. I'm not quite sure what you would consider that, but we've got that shown as GI because that's an industrial use for GI, and we wanted to make sure that that followed what was there. That way we're not putting them in a zone that's
Yeah, okay.
inappropriate for it.
So would this help out, so in a situation, and I'm not sure if I'm recalling it correctly, but these internet mining boxes that are being popped up, would this prevent things like that from happening without it going through the planning commission?
Currently, we don't have any ordinances in place that would prohibit those at this time. But we are currently looking into comprehensive ordinance for that. So it's something, it's in the line, it's just not here at this time tonight.
I got you.
Mr. Tindall, Commissioners, this is, just to give you a little history on the zoning. countywide zoning's been in the comprehensive plan since, well, I know 25 years since I've been working here. And a couple of years ago, we applied for what they call a Plan First initiative for Ware County, and we were denied that initiative, that destination, because we didn't have countywide zoning. And so what countywide, or what Plan First initiative does, is it allows counties to apply for CDBG grants every year instead of every other year. So the planning commission looked at this, I think, 2 or 3 months in a row, looking at, ways that could be done that did not have a negative effect on the current uses. So all your larger parcels became agricultural, then they looked at the smaller parcels with the subdivisions and tried to give them a residential destination. But this is just an initiative that's been in place that has never been attacked or tackled, I would say. They're now trying to tackle that and be more proactive. And like 84, Highway 84 is CDD because CDD allows all uses. So you want CDD along your highway. So if you want a commercial development that you can have, especially around Manor and that area, you didn't want to put agriculture there on the small lots along the highway, and and then you can't have a grocery store. So that's why that's CDD. But it's just an initiative that's been started, and it's been talked about. So what we've done, or planning commission, the planning department has done, they brought it before the planning commission reviewed it. They made a recommendation for the county commission to adopt it, but it's solely on the county commission if they want to adopt the plan or not.
Okay. Anybody got anything?
Well, Mr. Chairman, a while back, we had an issue out on Jamestown. Individual was going, I think, put something over there, but then I think it was zoned to where he could put it, but and he had, I don't know if he had gotten his permits. There wasn't a building, but the old skating rink out there. And we found out that we had a lot of areas in the county that didn't have any zoning, it was just pretty much agriculture. So for that reason, we said we need to kind of start looking at that, because if you don't have any zoning, then that means people can pretty much do what they want to do.
Yeah, we had one out there building trailers or something too, and had to stop him there.
Yeah. So I think it's good when we
Didn't have a zoning or?
No, he had a zoning, he had a license to sell some trailers and utility or agricultural type trailers and to sell some parts, because he was zoned agricultural, but he didn't have a license for manufacturing. And so when you went to the manufacturing, he has to be industrial. And we had some complaints from some neighbors, so we went out and we had to shut him down. And he's applied for rezoning, but I can't really talk about that until it comes up for a public hearing, but he's applied for rezoning, so.
Okay. Is that all on? Y'all got anything else on? Okay, do we have anybody oppose it? Oppose this? Okay, come up.
I do oppose this. This is government overreach, in my opinion. Pointed out to smaller communities that we want to.
Sir, if you don't mind, before you get started, if you'll just state your name and address for the record, so we'll have it for the minutes. Thank you.
Jeff Parton, 1680 Smith Road.
What was the last name?
Parton, P-A-R-B-E-E. Pointed out to smaller communities, saying that small subdivisions that you're not gonna have any livestock in there. People live in smaller subdivisions because that's all they can afford. With the prices going up the way they are, and somebody got 2 chickens, you can go in there and say, hey, you can't have 2 chickens. This is just overreach. I'm completely against it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else oppose it? Is that, what he's talking about? If it's zoned like that, they would have to do away with some people got goats, everything else around.
For the most part, those would be treated as grandfathered in if they're pre-existing. If they already
But
have
then if he gets rid of them, he can't bring nothing back, can he?
They'd have to be gone for a year.
Sell them
They'd have to be gone for a year.
for a year?
Yes,
So
sir.
as long as they don't have the.
But
they don't
every,
have animals on
okay,
them
well, now,
for a
these
year.
areas that you gonna
I
rezone
don't know
like
why the
that,
screen
But-
isn't working.
all places, I mean, is that
No, sir, that was just in the
Just-
residential zoned areas.
just
So-
in the residential zone
So,
there?
and we've had in the past, we've had a lot of complaints with neighbors on, having, chickens in the residential zoned area. We've had some horses, but mostly chickens. And usually the complaint is because they're running free or it's roosters. So we have actually entertained or have kind of, talked with the planning commission about entertaining maybe a text amendment in the residential districts to allow some sort of like chickens or whatever, as long as it's not roosters. What we probably do is try to mimic the cities. I think the city has an exception in theirs, for some of those areas. So we might try to, do that and look, or see if the planning commission will look at it, so. And that would be a direction the commission have to give to the planning department to go back with the planning commission, so.
So, I'm from the city, so you say you have chicken, but you can't have the roosters.
Right, roosters, they crow, and that's what caused the problems with with neighborhoods
Well,
with roosters.
that's what I was thinking, but you know, okay.
So that's our complaints with roosters is, with chickens, either noise complaint or either they running free in people's yards,
Okay,
so.
okay, that's what I.
So, and you know, that's kind of just an overview. I mean, it may come back and they not, and that may not be an issue, but I mean, that's just kind of thinking, so. And it's a catch-22 on those, you know.
Price of eggs keeps going up, you're gonna see a lot of chickens.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, we never get complaints that, with, chickens that are hens and in a pen.
Okay, but
So it's
roosters-
always roosters and running free is what the planning department gets.
So if he's got chickens or ever what in his yard, this is not gonna affect him, he can still have them, right?
Correct. He's grandfathered in.
As long as he keeps them.
And,
Okay. Anybody else oppose it? I have no more opposed this zoning. Okay, we'll carry it over. I hear a motion, is that the last one? No,
that's
no,
one
no,
more.
we got one
Yes,
more.
one more.
All right. All right, here.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, this is, go ahead.
on this last rezoning, I just gonna say I'm gonna refrain from any discussion because I live in that area.
Okay. This is a public hearing agenda for, this is a request to change the Ware County official zoning map by the rezoning of Frontier Estate area. Frontier Estate, Dixie Oaks, Woodlands, and Rolling Hill Estate subdivision from R90 Residential District and CN Conservation District to RS Residential District, single-family site built, to rezone FDP Residential Flood Damage Prevention Overlay District, single-family site built. They're gonna change it.
Mr. Chairman,
Did you
before
come
we
up-
get started, can we see if Commissioner Lucas is still on the line?
Yeah. Lucas, you still
Yes,
on?
ma'am, I'm-
Okay. Did you also have a conflict you'd like to declare?
Yes, ma'am. I need to openly declare that I live in this district and I will abstain from conversing or voting.
Thank you, sir.
You have property down there. All right, now, come up, explain it to us.
That's a lot easier than last time. We want to know amendments either way.
Okay, so I'll start off by saying this is the area that we're talking about, Frontier Estates area. That's what we're just loosely calling it. As mentioned in the requested action for it, this includes portions of Frontier Estates, or it includes Frontier Estates, Dixie Oaks, Woodlands, and Rolling Hill Estate subdivisions, as well as 2 parcels that are located right in this area. It's 051F 02001A and 001B. This was brought forth by the applicant, Patricia A. Lee, and a petition was also presented regarding this item, where they received approximately 61 1/4 of the property owners' signatures on it. The purpose of this was to assure that the residents in the area described that their land and personal investments will be minimally protected from potential adverse new or expanding land uses that could depress or reduce their existing property values and their prospects for future appreciation and improving general welfare. This is also to assure that vacant land that is located adjacent to existing residential structures is developed with a similar neighborhood residential and/or other compatible uses that conform with Ware County's land use plan and land use development principles. So they're wanting to change this from R90 and CN conservation. Currently, CN conservation is a placeholder basically for anything that's in flood zone. Doesn't really have any zoning requirements as far as you would see for like a R75 or an R90 or anything like that. It's basically just saying it's in flood zone and you have to get flood insurance.
Yeah.
So to sort of correct that, this has been included with it as something to be rezoned as well. The request is to rezone from R90 to RS. So that would be R90, that's single-family, multi-family residential, to RS, which is a single-family site-built residential. With the RS FDP just being rezoning to RS with flood zone protection in it, so flood damage prevention is what the FDP is standing for. Initially, this area, it was zoned R90 back in October 3rd, 1977. And the regulations that are applicable that brought forth this change was that R90 allows multifamily residences. The area to the north, you've got Kettle Creek. That's going to be your northern barrier or border for this. So to the north of that, you've got residences, you've got farm forested areas, wetlands, and there's also some multifamily residential off of Tanner Lane. To the south, you're going to have East Wakeona Drive as your southern border of this. You've got R90, A1 Agriculture Forestry, and a collection of residences and some small wooded tracts. To the east, you've got R90 residential, A1 agriculture and forestry, and CN conservation, and you've got a mixture of farm, wetland, wooded areas, and residences. And to the west, you've got R90 residential with some C2 highway commercial to the west of State Street, and there's also some multifamily residential off of Ryan Circle, which is right here off of ABC Avenue. So that's this little piece right here. As far as physical characteristics. Most of the property is just mostly flat with it sloping once you get more towards the flood valley for Kettle Creek. So you'll start seeing the slope go down that way. Attached, we've got a copy of the map showing the location with the current zoning. I'll turn that on here as well, just so you can compare. So currently, this is how the zoning out there looks. All these areas that are in R90, we're asking to be brought to RS. And all of this that's in the blue here, this is your CN conservation. That would be the RS FDP area. Just so anybody that's currently got property in the flood zone, you'll still be in the flood zone. If you're out of the flood zone, that's not changing. So at least not with us. You'll also have a copy of the aerial photo as well as the location of it in the packet. And regarding the adopted Ware County rezoning standards, the proposed amendment would permit a use that is suitable in view of the use and development of adjacent nearby properties. Yes. RS residential, single family, site build is an accepted use for areas in this character area, urban fringe. The proposed amendment would adversely affect the existing use or usability of adjacent or nearby property. We're going to say no because we have no multifamily residences that we're aware of in that area, or within that particular area we're requesting rezone. The property to be affected by the proposed amendment has a reasonable economic use as currently zoned. Yes. The properties could be currently developed for multifamily residential uses such as apartments, duplexes, and triplexes. The proposed amendment would result in a use that would or could cause excessive or burdensome use of existing streets, transportation facilities, utilities, or school. We put that as no. That RS should lower the density of the residential there, so shouldn't be an issue. The next would be the proposed amendment is in conformity with the policy and intent of the land use plan. However, nothing herein shall prevent a zoning decision which is not in conformity with the policy and intent of such land use plan. And we put that as yes. The character area map designates this as urban fringe, more loosely described as suburban type residential development from the west and north and east of Waycross, which includes residential and retail commercial as included uses. And lastly, other existing changing conditions affecting the use and development of the properties, which would give supporting grounds for either approval or disapproval for the proposed amendment. We put no. We have no existing or changing conditions that would affect that. So, if you got any questions,
Okay. Y'all got any questions on it?
Oh, I'm good.
Anybody? Okay, anybody oppose it? You have any opposed? Okay,
And if anybody would like to speak in support of it, they may also.
do what?
If anyone would like to speak in support of it
Okay.
or in opposition.
Do we have anybody else that wants to support it? Speak on supporting it? Give us the name, please.
My name's Patricia Lee.
Patricia.
I live at 204 Frontier Drive, and my residence is located in Frontier Estate. And I am here today to request this rezoning because at the present, this would allow multi-units, triplex, duplex, or apartment complex to be built on any vacant land. And right now, all the homes in this area that are built are single family, single homes only. And there are approximately 220 physical addresses in this area, and we received 142 signatures on our petition to get it rezoned. So the great number of the residents in this area want the rezoning done. And the reasons we feel that is because if you go in and put apartments or these other duplex or triplex, it would affect the character of our neighborhoods, and also it could devalue some of our property, and also it would increase the density of if you had multi-family homes. Also, there could be a problem with Wakeona School, because right now, if you had an influx of complex, these apartment buildings or these duplex or triplex, it would increase the enrollment there, and the way I understand it, it's already sort of overcrowded right now. Also, since they opened Winclay Drive with the Jamestown area, we have seen considerable traffic increase in the Frontier Drive area. And so this would only increase it more if you had these apartment buildings or these other buildings put up with multifamily. That would just increase the traffic more there and on Wakeona Drive. And so we would lose our community feeling, our neighborhood feeling and everything. So I ask y'all to please approve this. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Do I have any more in support of it?
James Henry Taylor. I agree on that factor because they're saying that it's not going to interfere with the driving or the traffic in the area. But if you take a look at the map and you see how they're going down Bland Road and they're also going down Frontier Drive, added traffic to that will completely mess up the driving in that area. You got a school that's located right over in the corner here, and you got the people as far as the railroad train coming through will cause everybody to go around and come through that area. We already got the situation where a train is there, the traffic backs up on Bland Road waiting for the train to go by. Or we have to go all the way around the city. And then with the additional road that's coming through, coming from Jamestown, is an increase in traffic. So right now, if you look, you only got two ways out of that area. And you're blocking both of them by adding more housing or duplexes and such would add the traffic that we really can't handle in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any more? State your name.
Long Road. New residents, just bought property here. I do not want multiple complexes added. I'm from Kingsland, 18 years with the police department. This will only increase crime in our area. This will only increase more police presence. We bought in here because of a nice neighborhood. We want to stay a nice neighborhood.
Thank you. Any more?
Tim Corey, 2502 Winchester Road.
Yes.
My wife and I have lived in Waycross off and on for the last 20 years. When we moved into Frontier Estates, one of the things that we loved about it was the fact that our girls could go out and ride on the streets on their bikes without any fear whatsoever. I've lived in cities that have had multifamily dwellings, whether it's duplex, triplex, apartment setups, whatever. In those areas, you lose that. Having grown up in a small town myself in North Florida, I want that for my children. I want them to be able to raise their kids and eventually potentially for me to be able to hand my home over to them once my wife and I are gone. Or for them to be able to let their children ride their bikes on the streets. Also in our area, on our street, we also have a family who has a son who's deaf. As population density increases, traffic increases, he does have cochlear implants, but it also makes the possibility there later on down the road, if anyone else moves into the area, if this doesn't get rezoned, as the population density increases, it makes it potentially unsafe for anyone else who may have that same scenario. And I don't want to see anybody have to deal with that. The gentleman who was just here, he's absolutely right. As population density increases, when people are on top of each other, it also increases the potential for crime. And living in that area right now, we've not had to deal with that. And I don't think any of us want to deal with that. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, any more?
One thing we've done in the past, Mr. Chairman, is just so that if there are a number of people who are interested in just showing their support for a position rather than having a lot of duplicative testimony, is if you wanted to ask for a call of hands, you know, for anyone that would just like to be referenced in the minutes, then certainly the clerk could take a quick head count and add that to the minutes if you all would like. So, Mr. Chairman, if you wouldn't mind just calling for anyone to raise their hands that is in support, then we'll take a quick head count.
Is any all for it?
Now, wait a minute, just one hand. That was smart. I like that. That was smart. Very smart, very smart.
Anybody oppose it?
All right, let's get a...
Pretty much everybody.
Got something to oppose it?
I think we got it. Just so you...
Nobody opposed.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody's opposing that.
All right. Look like y'all won that one. Okay, let's carry it over.
Yeah.
We'll carry it over to the vote. All right. That's the last one, ain't it? Okay. Well, let's see, let's adjourn, I hear a motion to adjourn this hearing.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, I'm gonna go right on into the
I need to
regular
go
meeting. Or you
update your
wanna-
agenda.
We need a little time, or?
Yes, so let me run update the agenda.
Let's get the agenda updated.
Okay, let's take about 10 minutes, that'd be good. 10 minutes, we'll come back for the regular meeting.
Okay, because I got it.
In order. This is our regular Board of Commission meeting, Monday, February the 10th, 2025. We have the, you got the new name, okay? We're gonna move on into the, I hear a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Let's vote on it. Mr. Burris? Aye. Mr. Tindall?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas? Aye. Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda been approved, okay. Guest speaker, we don't have one, do we? Okay, tonight we have February Employee of the Month. Miss Teresa, would you come up, please?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think y'all would ever get to my part.
Finally.
Me either.
So I'm here to recognize the February Employee of the Month. This month it is Miss Angela Schulman of the Tax Assessor's Office. Want to come up while I talk about you? So Angela's been employed with the Assessor's Office since March 2002. She received not just one, but 2 nominations for Employee of the Month from coworkers in her office. The first one came from Tiffany Thomas, who's the Assistant Chief Appraiser. And she writes that Angela Schulman is a dependable and knowledgeable member of the Board of Assessors. She is hardworking and always willing to help others. Angela goes above and beyond on any task she is assigned. If there's anyone who needs help, she's willing to pitch in and do whatever is needed to get the job done. She is on time and ready to work. Angela comes to work with a great attitude. Angela has been employed with the county since 2002. Second nomination came from Jasmine Green, who also works in the office. Angela puts forth a positive attitude every day with a smile on her face and an opportunity to brighten the day of her fellow coworkers. She has always had the ability to adapt to the constant law legislature changes in the assessor's office. Angela's workload as a deed analyst is nonstop and year-round. There is hardly ever a slow season for her. Yet she is able to push through and stand in the gap for other coworkers who need a helping hand. The knowledge that Angela possesses in regards to the job she does is vital to the functionality of our office. Her willingness to work with others is what helps solidify her niche as a deed analyst. She worked alongside Ms. Deanne Taylor, who then helped Angela to further understand the intricate parts of deeds and sales. Angela eventually stepped into her current position with both feet. I know that Deanne would be so proud of the work that Angela has continued to do and would be steadfast in confirming Angela's growing confidence to help settle any deed issues. Angela's longevity with Ware County Board of Assessors Office is unmatched in today's world. How many people can honestly say they have successfully and faithfully served in their capacity for over 22 years? I mean, that is surely something to be celebrated. Angela's work ethic and determination sets the tone for those who share her workspace and workload and drives others around her to mirror her outlook of the tasks at hand. There is no one more deserving of Employee of the Month than Angela Schulman, and we quite agree.
All right.
So congratulations to Miss Angela, who will do her presentation. Would you like to speak? I'm sorry. Chief Appraiser.
Would you, yeah.
I've worked alongside Angela since she's been here, and she does just what they've said. She's at work every day. She comes to work with a good attitude. The job's a challenging job, and she does a real good job. It's a very important task that she has in our office, so I do want to say congratulations and thank the board and thank the nominating committee for their confidence. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Come over here so
Yeah,
that
Yeah, don't let Billy
Go
get
on,
that.
Billy, go on.
I was gonna say she's a former student of mine, but when I heard 22 years, I said, don't get this.
He is hilarious.
We're gonna count to three, I'll blink on 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3. Hold on.
One for the office. So 3, 2, 1.
All right. Okay. Congratulations, Dan.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Tracy. Okay. Let's go on to 8, catering alcohol license application for the Cocktail Caravan, LLC. Y'all thought about that?
I recommend we approve it, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the catering alcohol license application for Cocktail Caravan LLC.
I second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion on it?
Well, Mr. Chairman, like I said, I had some reservation to begin with, and still, this is something new and really don't have a template, you know, as to how this particular type of operation will work. So, with that being said, I just don't feel comfortable with it right now.
I'm kind of like you, I don't know. I really don't understand it, how it works. How it's gonna work, but
Mr. Chairman, I mean, my understanding on it is just that it's a for-hire business. So if you're having a wedding reception, a party of sorts, and you want to have somebody to come in and mix drinks, it's basically a hire-own bartender service. You pay for all the stuff, and they leave it there whenever they're done. So it's just kind of like having a personal bartender at your party, if that's what you're asking for.
but they have to have the license.
They have to have a license, plus the host of the party has to have an event.
Special event
a
permit.
Special event permit to do this.
Okay.
Seemed like it might be more organized.
It seems like, well, because in that permit, it goes into, you know, the law enforcement is informed that this is going to be taking place. You know, everybody that needs to be in the know about, you know, a gathering of this kind would be known. So, yeah, I think it seems to be like it's going to be more organized and have the ability to keep things more kind of on the up and up.
Okay. All right, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
No.
Mr. Tindall?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
No.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
I'm gonna vote yes too. Okay? Let's go to B. Upgrade of aviation fuel contract.
Chairman, I offer a motion that we approve this upgrade to the aviation fuel contract. I believe it's in the amount of it's $550 a month. We're paying $175 on top of that, which will be what, $725 per
What
month.
is it costing us now?
It's $550.
$550 now?
The lease of the truck that we have out there now. And the manager indicated that they sometimes have a problem with the truck itself. And so right now they're gonna give a completely refurbished truck about, I think, 4 years old, newer.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion so we can actually go into discussion on this, and then we can kind of discuss it.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I think the 550 includes
That's the new price.
increase, the new price.
That would be the new price?
Yes, sir. It's not the old price.
No, I think the old price was $550, I believe.
I understood
This is
the-
what the new lease we have?
I think it was going to
So-
7 something, wasn't it?
Yeah, the new lease shows 550, so this is the new price, included the increase, 550.
Based on what I read, it's gonna be $175 more than the $550. The $550 is the old
And I may
price.
have written that wrong on the agenda. It should have said includes.
Well, I'm reading the lease.
Yeah.
The lease
And you
term
go
says
on,
550.
pricing and payments in the lease
It's
agreement,
misleading.
and it says 550 per month in the lease agreement, so that would be the new cost.
And what
That's
this,
gonna
on
be the
the
new
agenda
cost,
sheet,
$550 a month.
So the other cost was
Look at
was
it,
three,
James, where I put the increase is 175 to get to that 550. That may have been a little misleading.
right,
Yeah, I misunderstood.
So we're approving $175 a month increase.
Right, which
Right.
takes it to 550.
which takes it to 550.
Okay, well,
I can see that last sentence there on the agenda item, Commissioner Burris,
And I
where
got
it
a
says
question,
the
Mr. Chairman,
increase
we'll get there.
is 175, and it should have said increase on the previous monthly contract versus. So I can see where that would be.
You still satisfied with your motion then?
let's see.
Approve it.
The increase in the monthly contract price is $175 to get the upgraded truck.
Right, to get to that 550, that was my wording there.
Again, like I
Are we
said,
making that much money off of that airport?
Oh, the fuel, they
Oh, yeah.
absolutely
They
do.
sell a lot of avgas.
Mhm.
Okay.
I misunderstood him. I thought he said it was going to 7 something
it,
when he
that's,
was
that's,
up there.
I believe I'm
That was
right
my
on
understanding,
that.
but then I read the lease agreement, it says 550.
It's 550, okay.
Unless-
Well, that's even better.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion on it?
Mr. Mayor, I hope that you get this clarified as far as the
You want me
amount.
to, I can clarify it, and if y'all wanna come
Because,
back and vote on that one.
Let's see.
Well, it did say, I thought it
I was
was
going by
750, but it don't
175,
go
but he said-
Okay, but see, when you go back here,
Cause this was supposed to be
This
the
is
new
just what we
lease.
wrote up. The other one was the lease contract that Perry wrote up.
so it's
I
550.
don't know that.
That's what the lease says.
So he said, that's what I thought, he said
Contract says
550.
Oh, because I understood, when I called Frank, he said 550 plus the 175 will go up. He
I'll,
said,
if you want, I'll call him right now.
okay.
Yeah. Let's get some clarification on this.
Yeah, I was just going by what was in the lease.
Yeah, because the lease does say set 550.
Yeah, it says that, but I know.
I know, I mean, I knew where the,
And I think this is what the current lease is the 550.
That may be it. That may be the current lease language in there, do you think?
Maybe, but it's got my name all on it. So it
So
should
that
be.
wouldn't go.
what kind of truck do we have out there?
He's got, yeah, he got $175
It's
to upgrade.
750 Ford, I think.
Okay, because this, on this lease says the 2002 International 1,200 gallon AV gas. So that's not the same truck.
No, it'll be a different truck.
So that's what I'm saying. So this lease is the updated one or refuel or lease agreement.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's with the new truck that's been refurbished.
Current price is $350
Okay.
per month.
And then
Or
it'll take it to,
$320, I'm sorry,
$325.
$325.
okay, then it will take it to
And
550.
it'll take us up to $550.
Okay,
We just misunderstood him when he was up there.
However, he said it was
Clarification
$300.
on
yeah.
Now,
Up to 550, doesn't it?
you still
$375, yeah.
satisfied with
I'll
your
get it right.
motion then?
Yeah, the,
Okay. To upgrade
motion
it,
that we
upgrade is,
that we approved the upgraded contract from,
550.
350, what, 350 or 325?
75.
550 is the new amount.
550 to 550 per month.
okay. All right, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris,
Aye.
Mr. Tindall, Mr. Lucas, and Mr. Cox.
Aye.
Okay. Let's go on C. Request to name private roadway dead-end road. We got any, we know what that one was? That was to change that road?
Mr. Chairman, I make a request we approve that.
Okay. You got I got a motion to,
Second.
to change it. I mean, request to name the private road dead-end.
We have to approve the naming.
Is that the way you got it down? A request to change the private road,
So
okay.
you're gonna approve the
All right,
request.
I got a motion, you got a second?
Yes, sir.
You got a second? Let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Tindall?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas? Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, okay. Now, this is a request to close and abandon 500 feet of alley in block 214, New Mexico Avenue to Nevada Avenue in Emerson Park subdivision.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the request to close the abandoned 500 feet of alley in Block 214, New Mexico Avenue to Nevada Avenue of Emerson Park subdivision.
I'll second
Okay.
that.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on it? Not, let's vote on it. Mr. Burson?
Aye.
Mr. Tindall?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas? Mr. Cox?
I abstain.
Okay. That's right. Let's go, I.E., request to
Are you gonna
adopt
vote?
zoning.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure we got your vote for the minutes.
Okay, yeah, I voted aye.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, request to adopt zoning area in unzoned areas of Ware County per map, approved by Waycross Ware County Planning Commission. So, y'all know what this is now? It's countywide.
Which is you said for the comprehensive plan.
Yes,
And-
this is one thing, working towards a comprehensive plan. It's one of our items on our checklist for it.
There,
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request to adopt zoning areas in unzoned areas of Ware County per map approved by Waycross Ware County Planning Commission.
I'll second that motion.
all right, I got a motion and a second to zone it. I get all the Ware County then.
Everything that's currently unzoned.
Everything that's currently unzoned, right, will be zoned now.
So anything that's currently
But now-
zoned will be unaffected.
Okay, make sure, okay, what, we're gonna zone it to, what, see, what you calling it?
It would depend on where it's at on the map.
The-
This would be voting based on the map that is being presented.
If it's under agriculture, then it'll be agriculture. If it's zone commercial, it'll be commercial or whatever.
Mobile home.
Whatever's out there, it'll be still
Yeah,
that, right
they'll
on.
be grandfathered in.
But we just have a zoning on it.
Yeah.
Right. This also makes us eligible for more grants, more money coming into Ware County by hitting that on our comprehensive plan.
Right. Yeah, okay.
CDBG is how much?
Yeah.
500,000.
Is it 750?
500,000?
I think it used to be 500, I think it's 750 now.
750 now.
Well, I
And so
know that-
now we would be eligible, if we, by doing this and by meeting our comprehensive plan,
I know
we'd be
the last
eligible every year.
The last one we got was 500 for Bennett subdivision.
In
It
23.
can be up to 750.
Okay, but it can be up to 750.
Right.
And we're currently in the application process for the Josephine Park area, so.
This at least lets us meet some of the qualifications for Plan First enrollment.
Right. Gives us more points whenever they go judging our applications. Okay.
We got the motion and the second.
Right.
Any more discussion on it? All right, let's vote on it. Mr. Burson?
Aye.
Mr. Tindall?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas? Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna vote no on that, because I don't fully understand that.
Or no, I think, for the chair.
No, I mean for Barry.
He
Okay.
voted aye.
Okay. It
Four
sounded like-
4-1.
Yeah, okay. It sounded like it was a nah, so that's why I was asking.
Request to rezone Frontier Estate area from R90 and CN to RS and RS
FDP.
FDP.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer a motion that we, make a motion to rezone the Frontier Estates area from R90 and CN to RS and RS FDP.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. We got any discussion on it?
They can have the standing.
Mr. Chairman, I just believe since we had such a great outcome of the community and a lot of the community already signed the petition to do this, and, you know, I appreciate the ones that started it, to be able to come out there and be an activist for your community and kind of lead the way, be the tip of the spear on this situation. So being that they're all in favor of it, I would like us to approve it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would also like to ditto what the Commissioner Tender said, and I think Mrs. Lee was the one that kind of spearheaded this. And when I was looking when we got the packet and saw all these signatures, and I think like 62%, I called her and asked her, you know, was she running for office or something, you know, because she was doing the groundwork. But I think that's commendable, you know, that you took a proactive approach to it, and because a lot of times when we get stuff, it's after something has taken place, and they trying to undo something that really the people could have done. So I think that was a good part on you to do that. So appreciate that.
Okay. So we got a motion and a second. Let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Tindall?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
He has to abstain.
I'll recuse myself.
Okay.
That's right.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay. Manager comments.
Just, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. You have on the screen Albany Avenue overpass. And that was the changes that were made based on our meeting, and I say our, myself, Commissioner Tindall, and Commissioner, or Chairman Thrift, as meeting with the engineers. And essentially what was changed was Crawford Street used to go on to the overpass at about a 4-foot elevation in height. And then any trucks going on that with a turn right to go over the overpass would be on an incline the entire way up. So what we're proposing is to turn Garlington Street, turn Garlington down onto Oak, and then head south, curve down south to Albany, and then they would have a acceleration lane to get up to speed to get on to the Albany Avenue overpass. On the west side, what was proposed was to eliminate the access at Waller Street. Eliminate that access because that was a 11-foot incline at that intersection. So you were up 11 feet to get onto the road. So we proposed to eliminate that, resurface, I believe that's Franklin Avenue and then Columbus, resurface those two, and then have a decel lane in front of the church. And that intersection at Columbus and Albany Avenue would be a right in and right out. And then the last part of that was to construct a road on the south side of Columbus Street and run back and connect to Garlington Avenue, and that would be a right in and right out as well. There would be no cross on Albany at that intersection. If you want to go Albany, you would go back down Waller Street and then maneuver left and go under the overpass. We also looked at the possibility of extending Garlington under the overpass, and per the engineers, it would extend that bridge another 100 feet. And per the engineers, the rough cost of extending the bridge 100 feet is about $1 million. So we eliminated that. And then on Crawford Street, you would build a cul-de-sac down by the warehouses. And then Garlington would be a 3-point turn down by those warehouses as well. So, we looked at trying to connect back to Brunswick Avenue, but CSX owns property there, and we couldn't. They've already denied access to Brunswick Avenue. So, and the purpose of extending the bridge was because CSX has a box there, and we couldn't interfere with that box, signal box. So what we're asking for tonight is either a consensus or something from the board, whether we come back and have it Thursday or tonight, is to just, inform staff, myself to, direct myself to, or staff to go to, the engineers and tell them proceed on with the right-of-way plans. So that we can start purchasing whatever right-of-way we've got to start purchasing.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, as far as myself, I was in the meeting, like you said, and I feel comfortable with where we're at. I know that the other commissioners maybe not had a same opportunity to look at the map and see where it's going. I think this map that you've got up on the screen is a good detail about what we had talked about in that meeting. And so I'm good to go along with it, but I would like for my fellow commissioners to have that same opportunity to look over it and see if there's anything else.
Okay.
And I appreciate that, Commissioner Turner, because like I said, I know we've been talking about this, and I appreciate you and the chairman going out, with the manager. But I would like to look at this, and we're having a meeting Thursday, and from all where it looks right now, I don't have a problem with it, but I just want to go out there and physically look, especially where you're talking about putting this road that's coming through and I guess cutting across Oak Street and coming around to Albany, and see who will be impacted by that before
It'll come over to M Street and then come into that road.
Right.
Have to have such an incline there.
And I know that some of the things that we looked at, and the chairman, had a lot of great comments on it as far as being able to keep traffic moving. We've had a couple of our overpasses that we've got already in town that, depending on which direction you turn, you're going to be automatically going uphill on a pretty steep grade. And in my regular pickup truck, I'm fine, but if I take out my pumper truck when I try to go right onto Corridor Z off of some of these streets, it's not going to make it up, or it's going to be very slow. So then we'll back traffic up and potentially cause accidents. And so I felt like that going this direction and having some foresight on keeping traffic moving, keeping some turn lanes in there, right in, right outs, things like that is, kind of do it right the first time. We don't have to come back and do it again.
Right, thank you.
Right. Okay. Anybody else? Got anything on it? Everybody satisfied with it? Okay. If I'm not mistaken now, we probably gonna be looking at, hopefully this year, be purchasing some property. I believe he said that he would have the right of ways. Maybe I hope probably 6 months, something like that, have a go-ahead to maybe start purchasing the property, because I think the project's gonna bid next year.
So he'll do the surveys, right-of-way surveys. They'll have to make some changes to those. And then once we get those, we would proceed with the council's attorney's office about getting our appraisals and doing what we've got to get those purchased.
Okay.
The red dots is what we're gonna have to purchase. The red dots.
Those red dots.
Yeah, they're gonna have to.
That's your potential impacts, yes, sir.
Potential impact, yeah.
So that extension on Columbus, didn't they say that was, they kind of needed to put that through to CSX just to make sure that where it came out on is acceptable?
They were gonna go ahead and yes, they were.
Yeah,
gonna go ahead and
That's the
put
only
that.
thing that might would change is where that road comes out.
And I will say that there was, on one of the previous plans, there was an access road when it was designed with retaining walls. There was an access road coming down the retaining wall, side of the retaining wall, at ground level, and CSX approved that intersection there. So they felt like that CSX shouldn't have any issues with this one, because it's, and all it is we got to go across a little portion. CSX owns a little pie-shaped piece right there on this side, on the west side of Garlington.
Okay. Yep.
So.
Okay. Anything else?
But if anybody wants to go out, I'll be glad to take this map and we'll go out there and ride and look at it if we need to.
I try to carve out some time either tomorrow or Wednesday, you know, but just ride out there and look at it.
Start early, it's getting hot.
Yeah, man.
During the day.
Yeah.
Any more commission comment?
Mr. Chairman, if I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge two people in this audience tonight that's very special to me. That's my son, my youngest son, and his wife, Tara. He's retired military, just retired, about 3 or 4 years ago, retired as a chief warrant officer, 3. And they moved back from Fayetteville. They've been going in Fayetteville for about 22, 23 years.
Yeah.
They built a home out there on Lejeune, and his wife Tara, she's a retired educator from Fayetteville, but now she's gonna be working at Ware Corner School here. So I just want to acknowledge them tonight, and they have 2 daughters. My granddaughter, both of them in the Navy. One's in Italy right now, and the other one just come back from Bahrain about 4 or 5 months ago. So I'm just thankful to have them here tonight.
Great to have you.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Commissioner Burks, if I may,
Yes, sir.
I love having them as neighbors. They are a great, I mean, they are just wonderful people to be around.
Okay, you wouldn't be saying that because you're their representative. But you're not up for election this year.
No, sir, I want you to say,
Yeah.
95 people, I love having them in our neighborhood.
Yeah, they're glad to be here. And,
Mr. Chairman, I got a question for the man.
Okay.
Highway 122 out there, I know it's a state highway. Who do we contact about maybe getting some lights out there? They've been too many wrecks out there.
So what,
The intersection is so dark, you run
red
up on
lights
it.
or
Not
street
red
lights?
lights, just street light, just to light up the intersection. They had a bad wreck there last week, I think.
So that, I believe the process would be, we would have to, get locate a map locating where some lights could go, and we would have to petition DOT with permission. And then it would be up to the county to, contract with Georgia Power to, put those lights up, and then we'd have to provide the power, kinda like we do at the traffic light at Sky.
So we would have to furnish the power and all?
Yes, sir.
No, it's just people, I live out that way, but I've had other people to call me and say, at night, you run up on that intersection before you know it, you know, and even maybe some flashing lights before you get to it, so.
Right, so we.
Flashing stop signs.
Yeah.
Flashing stop signs.
It's just,
Yeah.
but that intersection's so dark, you know, I've actually went across it myself, and I live out there, so.
Right.
And the other thing, the striping on Jamestown Road, I know they've been working on the sides of it. Have you heard anything when they may start?
I have not. They should be finished in the next couple of weeks with all that work. I know we've got to go out and do a punch list.
Yeah, okay.
But they can't put the striping down until they get the shoulders repaired, because if not, they'll scrape it off or brush it off with those brooms and the graders. So, but I can touch base with them again and see where they're at as far as finishing.
Just do that. I just had a lot of complaints about they got the center line, I think, temporarily or something.
Right.
But no, on the side, and people claiming they've been running off the road out there.
So what we've been doing, the chairman and I has been riding and looking at that work.
Yeah.
He knows more about the road paving than I do, and the different striping and what we paid for.
Okay.
Because there's different stripings out there. I don't know what all the differences are, and so we actually talked last week, was it, Chairman, that we got to go out and make a punch list for them, because they'll be sending some invoices pretty quick.
Okay. And when you go that Telmore Haywood Road, if y'all will look at it about the flashing lights before you get to the 4-lane there, because I think people have been running across it pretty regular.
Telmore.
The Telmore Haywood, right there at Dixie Union at the store.
Oh, yeah.
There are no signs or nothing there, I don't think. There are no speed bumps there neither, rumble
Ripples.
strips, I don't think, so.
Right.
There've been a few bad wrecks there, and the lady called me from the store the other day and said they was out there and somebody just come across there about 80 miles an hour, so.
Yeah. Let me talk with Dusty Mercer, the local engineer at DOT, and see what the process will be. Maybe we need to put one of those solar powered, flashing light stop
Flashing
signs
lights.
out there or
Yeah.
something.
That would probably be good at there and 122, something like
I
that.
think 122 needs a caution light on it, because it's in a curve.
There's
It's
a
in that
curve
big
there
curve.
coming to it.
And really, going down Quarters E, when they go in, I guess it's west,
So
it's
I
hard
can,
to see that.
I can write the, request the district, engineer's office to do a study
Yeah.
and see what they say for either a caution light, a traffic light, or,
Flashing stuff.
flashing stop sign or whatever, so.
We've had several bad wrecks lately.
They had one there Thursday, that,
And that was a bad one, that
yeah,
truck, wasn't it?
sure was.
Chairman, I've got, when y'all get through, I've got one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I do have, before we get on that, I do have a couple others, just to update. The 23 CDBG, grant, they should be starting anytime, I think. They're waiting on a load of pipe maybe, so they'll be starting that work. The State Street overpass is still going. I don't know if you noticed, they moved some more fences on that road. So that's moving along. I'll try to get an update from Dusty as well, so I can send out to the commission. And then, the Pascal, Griffin, those roads out, there's a couple more in there. I don't remember the actual, which ones they are. They should be finishing up design and be getting ready to submit us for, to go out for bid for those roads. Then we did a rough review of Wadley, Banks Lane, Slash Pine, those roads, so they should be getting closer there. The surveyor was going out to try to correct, or we're trying to fix the, skew at Wadley, Road, Smith Road. It was kind of at an angle, and it's like a 5-way intersection or something, so they were trying to realign that a little bit to make it, more feasible. Our 2025 LMIG roads, the money has been approved. We should be receiving a check on that in the next few days. And then those roads are currently, they should be closing out with design now. That was the engineer, that's Coastal Engineering or something that the commission approved some time ago to do a lot of this, the shorter and simpler routes, so they should be getting done. I know I met him the other day for the first time, so
He's out of Kingsland?
I think so. So
John is his name.
John
Hunkley.
Hunkley something.
John Hunkley.
Then I'll check on the comprehensive transportation plan. I didn't get a chance to call them, because I know they should be having 2 more public hearings. I don't know when they've got them scheduled for or whatever, see where we're at with that.
Yeah. That's one's Thursday, in it, for the last one.
That's the last one for the 581.
Right, so.
How about the Big Pin Road and the Gibbs Lane?
Thigpen Road, I haven't touched base with them. I think they're still being designed. So once we get a design from them, then the commission's gonna have to make a decision on what funds they're gonna use. They're programmed in the TIA 2, plan, and those plans for that is, for Thigpen was, when those funds will be available is 2031 for Thigpen, and then for Gibbs was 2027. But, if the commission wants to pursue something different, we'll have to talk with the TIAs and DOT and see what we can do as far as, getting an agreement with them, so that if we pay for it with our funds, then they pay us back, so we don't lose that money in TIA.
We need to get them paved.
So, but when we get design back, we'll pursue that then, so. Cause we'll know more about what it's actually gonna cost when we get that back. That's all I have, Commissioner, Chairman, Commissioners.
We have any hard time with the money, we get it from Mr. Burris.
Right, all right, come on, based on my liabilities, I'm loaded.
The Georgia Department of Community Affairs, their Community Development Block Grant, they have a disaster recovery. So they're gonna be hosting 10 town hall meetings, And it's, the state of Georgia received funding in the amount of $265,726,000 to help recover from the impacts of Hurricane Idalia, Debbie, and Helene. And it says these funds were appropriated under Public Law 118-158 enacted December 21st of 24. That these town hall style meetings are to help them gain insight into what the communities are needing, and to help the communities gain insight, into the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's allocation. These will be held February the 20th in Coffee County from 1 to 4 at their Chamber of Commerce building on Peterson Avenue, and February 25th in Lowndes County at the Southern Regional Commission office from 1 to 4. So you can either go February 20th to Coffee County or February 25th to Lowndes County and find out more about these funds and what's available, but this is open to the public, and I'll have these posted here for people when they come in. So that's, maybe we could get money too, I don't know. We'll
Okay.
see.
All righty. Anything else?
We've applied for the expedited funding for half the, cost for the debris pickup as well. So we hadn't heard anything yet on that.
Okay.
Marion County just got theirs approved, so we'll hear something.
All right, nothing else. I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Uh,
Meeting adjourned.